Summary: Uzumaki Naruto as a young kid has always been beaten and pushed around. Watch as he is taken in by the great demon king and grow ultimately powerful. Lots of action scenes and original bloodline limit Naruto. Chapter 1. Prologue and the Meeting. In the village hidden in the leaves, also known as Konoha, one word could only describe the things that were unfolding, and it was chaotic. Buildings were being destroyed, trees being pulled from their roots, people running away to find shelter from the attack of a demon, and corpses strewn all over the ground. The once peaceful village was thrown into disarray as the king of demons, aka Kyuubi, began attacking and killing innocent civilians. Namikaze Minato, who was the Hokage at the moment, was reading over scrolls to find a way to stop the rampaging demon who threatens to destroy that which he worked so hard to protect. If I don't stop this demon, then a lot more of my precious people would die, the fourth thought as he pored over countless scrolls spread before him. As he was thinking of this, something caught his eye, and then it hit him. The only way to stop a demon that powerful is by the power of human sacrifice. Jinchuriki, the power of human sacrifice, allows the sealing of a great-tailed beast into an infant whose chakra coils have yet to fully develop. Sealing allows the vessel to use some extent of the great demon's power that is sealed inside, although after using, the caster dies as payment for the job that was done. He sadly looks under the peacefully sleeping form of his newborn son. I'm sorry, I could not be with you when you grow up. I know you will become a fine shinobi with this that I'm going to give you. With this you are going to be hailed as the one who saved Konoha from utter destruction, the fourth said as he went away to prepare for the task at hand. He readies the Konoha Jounin and the ANBU who were fighting with the monster and told them his plan. They nod their assent and prepare to go all out on the demon to give their leader a clear shot as they bid their Hokage Godspeed and goodbye. Tears would have been shed in this heartwarming moment, but time is of the essence, and they could not afford to waste any of it. They needed to stop that demon at all cost. There were at least 40 ANBU and 60 more Jounin left to fight the demon, as all the other ninja were either incapacitated or tasked to protect the citizens of Konoha to evacuate, which made their combined forces at least 100, and that included some other Haichunin that volunteered to help out. After they formed a plan of attack, the ninja formed 4 groups and began attacking in unison. One of the groups attacked at lightning speeds and threw all the jutsu in their arsenal at the crazed fox with the hope to somehow damage its insanely powerful chakra shield for their Hokage to get a clear shot at it. But the Kyuubi was not stupid. It knew what their plan was and activated one of its tails. Fox Arts. Demon Dragon Fire. Its tail glowed with ominous red chakra for a while, and then it launched a dozen gigantic black flame dragons at its would-be attackers. Some who saw the attack early enough managed to perform some defensive jutsus or just dodged out of the way. A second later, those who performed jutsus got overpowered by the sheer power of the flame and got incinerated. Those who dodged thought they were in the clear, but imagine their surprise as the black flame dragons came after them and devoured them with flames hotter than the flames of hell itself. The effect of the technique was instant. 50 ninja got caught in the maelstrom of black fire and ceased to exist. Not even ashes were left as every cell in their body was disintegrated by the demonic fire. The fourth, seeing the black firestorm, sealed it via Fukahouen in order to limit the destruction cost. It required a damn lot of chakra to seal, as the area the fire covered was vast. Very good, human. There aren't a lot of mortals that have the skill to seal that technique. You're good. And for that, I will give this village a quick and painless demise. The beast said as its voice was tinged with sick pleasure from all the destruction it caused. No, demon, it is you who will die this day. Take this. Shiki Fujin. As he said that, all the ninja that were left jumped up to do jutsus that could either incapacitate the demon or break its shield. After a short while, the Shinigami finally appeared in all its deathly glory. The fourth Hokage stated his request, and the Shinigami nodded and went to work. It stretched out its hand and slowly but surely transferred the fox's body, mind, and soul into the belly of one Uzumaki Naruto. As the process was about to be completed, the fox roared one last time, a creepy, bone-breaking roar filled with hate and anger towards the villagers of Konoha. After the process was completed, there was a flash of bright light and all was quiet. No more screaming, and the roars of the great demon were gone into the night, as the great Kyuubi was sealed into the belly of one Uzumaki Naruto. The great demon vowed its revenge, and that one day it would break free from its cell and finish what it started. I will destroy Konoha if it's the last thing I do, it said while laughing maniacally. Time skip. 5 years later. Uzumaki Naruto. Age: 5 years old. Reality check. Instead of the villagers respecting and trusting the sealing powers of their fourth Hokage, They grew to scorn Naruto and see him as the demon itself biding its time, so that one day it would strike again and completely finish off the village of Konoha. Everywhere he went, Naruto was spat at and beaten by the angry villagers. The first few years of his young life was filled with pain and rejection, as all of the villagers that witnessed the Kyuubi's attack either just insulted him or worse, beat him up every time they got the chance, and for that Naruto grew cold, untrusting, and harbored a lot of hate towards the village. He vowed to escape and one day teach those worthless people a lesson they won't ever forget. The third Hokage, who was appointed to be the substitute Hokage for the time, saw Naruto and his plight and grew sympathetic of the boy. He passed a law prohibiting anyone to talk about the night of the Kyuubi attack lest be sentenced to death, hoping that Naruto would have decent friends in his generation. But the villagers' hate was so great that they prohibited their children from talking to the Hellspawn, or they would be punished. When the children asked why they called Naruto that, they would just say that the boy is evil. It was 3 in the morning. Naruto woke up a tad too early, but got up from his futon and went into the kitchen to prepare his food, which just consisted of instant ramen and some bread. This would be the day that would change his life forever. As he was eating his breakfast, he heard a small voice whispering in his ear. "Hey kid," it said. Maybe the preservatives in the ramen I eat are causing hallucinations. Note to self, find ramen alternative." Then it happened again. "Oi, are you listening?" the voice said a second time. "Arg, maybe I'm just tired. It's really early and my eyes feel like there are lead weights attached to them. Maybe I'll finish that later." So then Naruto went back to his futon and got some more sleep, just ignoring the ramen that he prepared. As several minutes slipped by, Naruto found himself in a dark sewer and knee-deep in dark water. Great, a sewer. How original. Stupid villagers. One day you'll get what's due to you. As he looked up, he saw some red and blue pipes which were glowing. Upon closer inspection, he found out that there was something running inside. What it was, he didn't know or even care. What he wanted was to get back to his home. As he was trudging through the dark waters, his foot hit something hard, and he jumped up and down, nursing the limb. What the hell was that? Upon looking closer, Naruto could see a pipe with a black substance tinged with a dark purple and red was running through it. Damn construction workers, putting a pipe in the water. My foot hurts. As he continued along the way, he saw a light and followed it and arrived in a sort of chamber with a huge cage in front of him. The creature in the cage roared and a large shockwave followed and swept Naruto off his feet. "Hey, you finally came. Good work, genius." "Wow, I've been waiting here forever. Where were you? What are you?" Naruto said as he got his composure and sat up. "And how the hell did I end up in here anyways? First of all, I am the mighty Kyuubi that almost laid waste to that pathetic little village of yours. If not for the intervention of that man, I would have finished my job," said the creature that was in the cage while releasing a little killer intent. "And second, I am the one who sent you here. I'm here to give a proposal, and a nice proposal at that. I don't even know you. Why the hell should I trust you?" Naruto spat back. "Watch that tongue, boy. If you don't want that arrogant tongue pulled out, it would be best to watch your language," the creature said so venomously that Naruto took an involuntary step backwards. "Yeah, nice threat from some guy who can't even get out a teensy tiny cage held by a piece of paper," Naruto said indignantly. "Pansy, you little insignificant worm. If I ever get out of here, I'll make sure to make you death as slow and painful as possible," the creature said as anger was clearly evident in its voice. Yeah. As if you could really get out," Naruto said haughtily. The Kyuubi calmed itself. This was the only shot it has at its plan. If this fails, then the plan all goes up in smoke. "Listen, kid, you've got spunk, I'll give you that much, but what I'm offering you is power in exchange for just a teensy tiny little favor. Don't you want power so that the villagers would stop attacking you and give a little respect? I saw your mind. It's filled with hate towards that village just like me. You want to get payback, don't you? I can help you there and grant you power so immense your name will be feared all throughout the world. It's your call. If you don't want to, I'll just let you out. Simple as that." Naruto seemed deep in thought. Was he gonna accept, or was he going to refuse? He didn't know that creature, so it must be just tricking him. But the power it promised was great. He could obtain it all for himself and destroy all those that have wronged him. The idea of them suffering under his hands and begging for mercy seemed like a sweet deal. So before he could think of anything else, he already agreed to the terms. "You just made the best decision in your life. Now I'll just give you instructions on how to make that frail body of yours a conditioned killing machine, and you best not slack off if you know what's good for you, boy." I'm just curious. If we're going to be partners on this, can I at least see your face?" "Sure. Just come closer. I won't bite." Yet, Naruto's sweat dropped at that last statement, but came closer due to curiosity. Imagine his surprise when he saw what was contained in the cage. A young girl, maybe 12 years old, slender body, pretty face, and a nice chest, and wearing a black gothic dress and black shoes. She had blood-red hair and even redder eyes. Wow, you're really pretty. Kinda. I thought that you were some dirty old man asking for some twisted favors. Yeah, I get that a lot, mostly cause of my voice. Right. Now that that's been taken care of, how the hell do I get out of here? Before you go, I will give both of us a seal so that none of us can go back on our deal. Yeah, sure. Whatever. There was a brief flash of light, and a second later a small red mark shaped like a fox coming out of the void appeared on his right chest. Right? I have it too. Wanna see? Naruto's sweat dropped as QB let the strap on her dress hang loose. Nah, I'll take a pass on that. Yeah, I thought so too, ha 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 ha. Sue. Getting out? How? Today, if it's not too much. As soon as he said the last syllable of the last word, he awoke from his sleep and saw that everything was the way he left it. That was some fucked up dream. I should really lay off the ramen. For now, that is. Your training starts tomorrow. You better not be lazy, or I'll make you suffer. Not a dream after all. Damn, how the hell could I do what she's asking of me? She already knows she can't break free from my body, so I should find a suitable host and transfer her mindset into it. Weird and creepy. Yet the most ideal thing to do? He thought as he brought his index finger to his chin. But he thought of more pressing matters as his stomach gave a low growl, signifying that he was in need of nourishment. He noticed the unfinished bowl of ramen and came to it. Nah. I'll worry about that issue later. Right now, it is time to eat. Itadakamasu. Time skip. For years later, Uzumaki Naruto. Age 9. Naruto has almost finished preparing for the task ahead of him and is leaving his apartment building. Silent and graceful as a cat, Naruto dove onto the night in pursuit of his prize, the chrysogram. Flashback. In the period of 4.5 years, QB worked Naruto hard into the ground using a harsh training regimen designed to bring out the strongest in anyone and hone them into the perfect killing machine. It also had the knack of killing most of those that had tried it before, considering that those who had tried it before were all demons and that Naruto would be the first one who was human to try it out. The odds were not in his favor, as he could die a slow and agonizing death if he lost concentration for even a split second. This method was called the body pound. It consisted of the fox demon channeling its strong and volatile chakra into the body of the young boy to simulate years of battle, honing the reflexes and developing the muscles. As the chakra of the QB is very evil, it contains the essence of the souls of all those that died by its hands, and because of that, channeling its chakra to Naruto and covering his whole body with it. The muscles gain power and flexibility, and the brain gets stimulated to a point where it outperforms a supercomputer. But there was a catch. If the body of Naruto came into contact with the demon's chakra, it would melt away due to the insane power it contains. So in order to counteract that, Naruto was to channel his own chakra in his whole body to protect it, and that needed precise chakra control, something Naruto still didn't have. Due to his large chakra capacity, it would take a long time to grant him the control needed to channel chakra around his whole body. So it began. For half a year, Naruto not only trained his chakra control but also his body. Doing 100 push-ups and 200 sit-ups every day gave him a sculpted body for just a 9-year-old. He even bought some weights and attached them to his arms and legs to improve their speed. He was now putting up to 300 pounds on each of his limbs, making it a total of 1,200 pounds of weight that he is carrying. He practiced doing the tree climbing and water walking exercises, and after 2 months, was able to master both those skills. Before half the year is done, he could properly channel chakra to his whole body. Thus began the process of the body pound. For the next 4 years, Naruto did this method 14 hours a day, or until his reserves gave out. The end result was the perfect killing machine, ready to fight, ready to kill. Congratulations, kid. You finally made it through. And the first mortal to do it too. Nice one. Just make sure you keep your end of the bargain. Yeah. A body fit enough for you to walk and blah blah blah. Insolent whelp. I was just joking, sheesh, cool down you old hag. Ha 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 ha. Flashback END. Naruto moved stealthily, wearing his sneaky clothes, which consisted of a black skin-tight shirt, black Jounin-style pants which hid his weights, black fingerless gloves with metal plates near the knuckles for protection, and red ninjazori instead of that easily noticeable orange jumpsuit really helped him blend with the foliage. Detection was out of the question. He cannot afford to be caught like this, lest they suspect that he is up to something. Listen, kid, if you screw this up, we're both done for. You know that, right? Yeah. I already know that. I'm not stupid, you know. Plus, you trained me, so you should know what I'm capable of. Or does that mean you're scared? Chicken, not this shit again. Would you cut the crap and concentrate? All right. Sheesh, so stingy. As both finished their conversation, Naruto neared a seemingly harmless boulder stuck to the base of a mountain. As they got nearer, Naruto channeled his chakra and in an instant he disappeared from view. Not even the trained guards sensed his presence as he walked past them. He got an inkwell and a scroll from his backpack and began to write the seals that would deactivate the security seals and grant him access to the shrine without a hitch. Ah, there you go. 3, 2, 1. Phewan. A small flash of light erupted from the scroll and burned all inscriptions on the wall, signifying an all green for Naruto to go on ahead and get what he came here for. As he came closer to the sword, his excitement went through the roof as he imagined what this powerful sword looked like, only to have his hopes crushed as he saw a regular katana with glowing inscriptions that he cannot read written all over it. At least it's shiny, but damn, what a letdown. And I thought it would look kick-ass. He picked it up, put it on his backpack, and prepared to leave. Just then a whole platoon of Root A and BU came into the shrine and covered all possible exits. So it's the demon kid that came to steal a priceless village artifact. He wouldn't be much of a problem. Yagyu finish him. And with that one AMBU charged at Naruto, but he was put down with a lightning bolt of pure chakra that shot from the boy's outstretched middle and index fingers straight to his heart, killing him. He fell to the ground still charged with the powerful electricity and convulsing. Right on. Lightning shard technique. Nice, eh? Naruto said. And with that display of skill, an AMBU with the wolf mask spoke up. We will not let you get away with what you did, demon. Your reign of terror ends here. Let's kill him and parade his corpse all over Konoha. Go, said another wearing a cat mask. Naruto was not one to like intimidations like this, so as the ANBU were charging, he activated the lightning that had built up in the body on the dead ANBU from his first attack. Right on. Lightning shard explosion technique. The corpse that was charged with lightning exploded magnificently in a hail of chakra-powered lightning, scattering the body parts of the dead ANBU everywhere. The ninja that got caught in the explosion either was incapacitated via a strong electric shock, had missing limbs, or was electrocuted to death. Damn it, he was better than anticipated, the ANB with the wolf mask said as he surveyed the destruction that ensued. Kill the demon, don't hold back. We cannot let him get out of this alive and harm more innocents. For Konoha, he said as he rallied the remaining ANB to attack mercilessly. And with that they all charged at him and readied their katanas, poised to strike and kill the boy with extreme prejudice. Seems like a good time to test my latest acquisition, Naruto whispered as he unsheathed Krisagram. Come get some. Naruto jumped up and started launching lightning projectiles courtesy of the Raiden lightning shard technique. Although a few were hit, they managed to protect their bodies from the assault by projecting a chakra shield. After the rain of lightning was over, the ANBU came and started their own assault. Some came at him with lightning-fast sword strikes. It was only thanks to the improved reflexes and power his years of training and the body pound gave him that he managed to parry and dodge those attacks. After a while the sword strikes ceased, and the ANBU that were assaulting him backed away, and he could certainly see why. As he was fighting with those sword-wielding ANBU, those other ANBU were readying their own jutsu, and he could see that he was in the receiving end of a jutsu storm. Oh shit. This is not good, Naruto said with eyes as wide as plates. Oh shit. I'm so gonna be screwed, Naruto thought while sweating profusely. Damn right you are. So start thinking of something to defend against that or we're both dead, said the Kyuubi in his mind as he was frantically thinking of a way to defend himself, as evading is out of the question because the area of effect of a jutsu that powerful would be large, as he notices that a lot of chakra is being pumped into that one jutsu. If he does not find a way to defend himself, he's done for. Try to help think of a way out of this, genius, instead of just making me feel worse about the situation. Suddenly, the light bulb switched on and an idea made its way to his head. Quickly, he channeled the fox's chakra and his own into his left arm, which started to glow a deep purple and emitted a strange glow. Ninpo, fox-hide shield. Then it came. Ninpo, 5 elements of the king technique, said the Umbus. He had no time to admire the work he had done as the ANBU unleashed the jutsu. A multicolored blast erupted from the group of ANBU, fast as a bullet straight into Naruto, as the ANB were screaming shouts of victory over the demon and further insulting him before he died. Naruto brought in his charged left arm to block the incoming attack and immediately felt the strength of the jutsu as he was slowly being pushed back despite his efforts to stay in his position. The defensive jutsu seemed to be holding well to the attack, but he noticed as time passed by that his arm began to hurt. And then it happened. An ANBU, not taking any chances, hurled a kunai at him, wounding him in the abdomen and breaking his concentration. As a result, the fox-hide shield faded and the ANBU's attack came through. Though it was weakened by the shield, it still packed a punch as Naruto's left arm got completely disintegrated. Not even a piece of it was left. Naruto was in deep shit now, severely weakened due to the damage that was done to him and losing a lot of blood at the time. He clutched the stump where his left hand used to be and applied a little chakra to slow the blood flow and cursed at the Ambu that was there at the time. He stood up, removed the kunai embedded in his stomach and threw it at the Ambu. Unknown to them, Naruto stuck a smoke tag to it, and when the Ambu foolish enough to catch it in midair saw it, it was already too late. Large amounts of smoke billowed out of the kunai, and not long after, the whole area was covered in a black obscuring smoke as Naruto used the temporary distraction to make his escape with his prize in hand. Naruto thought about his current situation and looked at where his left arm used to be for the first time and was surprised as it was slowly reconstructing and mentally thanked the QB for this miraculous regeneration rate. Hey, thanks for the regenerating abilities. It really helps out. I really thought I'd become a one-armed guy for the rest of my life. That would really screw my ninja career. Don't mention it, kid. Just be more careful next time. And try not to let your important body parts get hit next time you get caught stealing something or we're both really dead. Unknown to Naruto, a strange black energy is also leaking into the repairing and reforming tissues and slowly changing its makeup and properties. Slowly corrupting the cells and adding a power so ominous that the Bijou would look like Care Bears compared to it. Just then Naruto remembered the reason for all of this and checked out Chrysogram. The different runes glowed faintly, each with a different color, and it looked good in the night. All in all, there were 12 runes, which meant 12 forms available for the wielder of the blade. As of the present, only one form has been seen. It looked like two long composite bows held by the user, but in place of the wooden limbs were blood-red thick blades and no strings attached. The Bloodshroud Warglaves, eh? So I need to learn how to use that when I finally get to change it? The first form of the blade, it gives its wielder incredible speed capabilities, a wicked set of new skills, plus it looks really cool to boot. You really don't need to learn how to use it as information regarding its use and skills are downloaded into your brain when it changes, so you don't need to worry about Kenjutsu for now. Cool, I got it. Naruto didn't get to his apartment because he thought it would be the first place those bastard A and B would go to in search of him. He simply got into a cave which he stocked with food and a makeshift bed to spend some time there, and let his wound heal and his left arm fully reform. With only his right arm to serve to his needs, he got to the makeshift kitchen and started a fire in a corner via flint and tinder as he still doesn't know how to do jutsus with one-handed seals. As the fire heated, he cooked his food and ate his fill, went to bed, and slept for what seemed like an eternity. Time skip. 2 weeks later, Naruto woke up to find his stomach growling and was pretty surprised when he saw that half of his left arm had been reformed. It looked pretty normal, although it's a darker shade from his original arm. Well, you can't have everything. Wow, Q-chan, you really work fast, huh? Half an arm in just a night, you really or something. What's with the sudden niceness? Who are you, and what have you done to Naruto? Anyway, it's not just a night that you slept, boy. It's already been 2 weeks you've been snoozing there. That was some beauty sleep. 2 weeks. No wonder I was really hungry. Damn it, I need to find something to eat. And with that, Naruto went to the kitchen and prepared food good enough to fill up 4 people, although it took some time as he only had 1.5 arm. He glanced at his left arm and felt it twitch under his stare, as if it had a life of its own. He stayed there pondering over that idea for quite some time, but dismissed it as hallucinations caused by lack of food and went on his way to an epic pig-out. That felt really satisfying. Damn, I haven't had an eat that good for a long time. That's because you slept for 2 whole weeks. If that's not gonna make anyone enjoy even a crap-ass meal like that, I don't know what would. Hey, could you give me a break? I only have 1 arm working here. Why, if I had both arms, I could cook a feast fit for a king. Yeah, right. The only things you know how to cook are instant ramen and fried foods. Would you lay off me for a second here? I'm trying to think of something that I ought to do. I just couldn't put my finger on it. I'll just think about it later. I think I'm gonna lay around for a while. And Naruto slept again after eating, dreaming about stronger weapons and finally getting all the forms of the Chrysogram and becoming all-powerful. It was already nighttime when Naruto woke up and noticed a presence coming closer to his hideout. Damn, is that Ambu? No, its chakra signature is so little it's almost non-existent. It's probably a villager. So Naruto readied himself to kill that person should she talk about the whereabouts of this place. Chrysogram ready to swing. Naruto waited for the person to come closer, but was surprised to find a very young girl about the age of 5 gathering some medicinal herbs around the forest. Naruto sighed with relief. He wasn't ready to take the life of a weak and defenseless kid. He wasn't that sick up in the noggin. Time skip. 2 weeks later, Naruto awoke to find that his left hand had fully formed and was flexing it and looking at it as though expecting it to jump at him. Something was definitely weird with the reformed hand. What was it? He just couldn't put his finger on it. After a while, he got up and held Chrysogram and went outside to train with it. He had been doing this for the past 2 weeks, but he just couldn't make the damn sword change its shape. The only thing he made it do was to fire a crescent-shaped projectile of cutting wind and lightning that hit a tree and split it in half cleanly. Damn it, why won't you change? Naruto said as frustration began to build up, and he banged the sword on the ground. That's not the right way of destroying that, you know. Be more creative, kid. All great things take time. Just train with it, and you will eventually get it. Whatever. I'm gonna get something to eat. Damn, this is pissing me off. That night, Naruto was pondering on how to master the sword change when it happened. His left arm began to ache real hard, as if it was on fire. Naruto screamed in pain as he fell to the ground trying to alleviate the pain, but it grew even stronger as time passed by. And then there was a power surge from his left hand. A black substance emanating ominous energy came out of the whole left arm and began to envelope it completely, and as this happened, Naruto was in so much pain. We wish that he'd just died. Not only was the pain on his left arm, but it is spread all over his body, and even the QB felt some extent of it. What the fuck is this? QB, what the hell did you do to my left arm? You double-crossed me, you cheating bitch. It wasn't me. I'm feeling the pain too. There must be something that corrupted your arm while I was reconstituting it. Then what the hell is it? Maybe it's from training too much with that sword of yours. I don't know. God, I'm gonna die without even fully accomplishing my revenge. This is not right. And with those words, Naruto just collapsed and lost consciousness from all the pain. For a while, the pain stopped and Naruto just felt like lying there in that place. Unknown to him, he was back in his mindset while his body was still in pain. He noticed some changes since he last came to that place. First was that the pipe with the black substance seemed to increase in numbers. And not only that, but he saw black holes in the corners on the walls and parts of the ceiling. What the hell happened to this place? Was all that he could say before he jumped out of the way of a large claw that could have ripped off his head should it have connected. The claw belonged to a creature jutting from the biggest black hole in the ceiling. It was suspended by a column of that weird black energy. Its torso was robust with really large and overdeveloped arms, with really sharp, deadly-looking claws, with just a floating blue blob for a head. I am the Void Walker. Defeat me if you wish to have full control of the power I have bestowed upon you. If you get beaten, I will have this body to call mine, and you will disappear forever. So you're the one responsible for my pain, eh? You will suffer for that, I promise you. I will really enjoy playing with you and spitting on your corpse after. And with that, Naruto charged at the self-proclaimed Void Walker and aimed a chakra-charged punch to its head. Naruto began to build up the chakra in his fist. With each step he took closer to the Void Walker, the chakra grew until... Shit, what the hell was that? A frustrated and surprised Naruto exclaimed as his fist just went right through the Void Walker as if it weren't even there. He cursed at his luck even more as a large fist hit his back, sending him flying towards the bars on Kyuubi's cage. Damn, that hurt. You'll pay for that, you big-ass retard. The Void Walker just laughed at those words, a taunting, irritating laugh that echoed throughout the place. Then it raised its left hand, clawed at the space in front of it. A small portal suddenly opened, and it thrust its hand inside. Naruto did not know what the hell it was doing, but imagine his surprise as the large fist appeared right in front of him. Shit. And with that, Naruto jumped to the right, narrowly avoiding the fist, and countered with shurikens and kunai, and used Gale Wind Palm to increase their deadliness. Again, it's as if the Void Walker was not there, and the projectiles just went straight through. That's unfair, damn it. Come close to me and let's see who is really stronger. Naruto was really miffed now, but kept his composure. He knew that if he lost his cool, then he'd certainly lose the battle. Let's try some elemental jutsu, shall we? Naruto whispered to himself. He charged his right hand with chakra and started rotating it in different directions, and after the ball of violently swirling chakra materialized in his hand, he added the fire element to it. His whole right hand became enveloped with blue flame, hotter than the fires of the sun itself. Get ready for this, you stupid gorilla. Tears of the Sun God technique. With that, Naruto charged and making a fiery trail. Fast as a lightning bolt, he ran towards the Void Walker. Kiss your ass goodbye. Naruto felt his hand collide with the monster and unleashed a fire maelstrom that burned everything within a 50-meter radius, save for Naruto, as it is his chakra that powered the jutsu. How do you like me now, huh? That's what you get for trespassing in my body. Naruto stumbled to the ground after this, as he used most of his chakra for that one attack. If the Void Walker was still standing after that one, then he would be done for. The Void Walker suddenly spoke after a long while. It was growing brightly, as though angry. Shit, I'm so screwed, Naruto gasped. Maybe I can't take you so lightly anymore. That last attack actually hurt. I salute you, mortal, for you are the first one that did damage to me. However, you will not be staying long to enjoy that. No more holding back. Your time ends now. Disappear, mortal. Then a big ball made up of the same substance as that of the black pipe shot from the right hand of the Void Walker, fast as a bullet toward Naruto. It connected and imprisoned Naruto inside. Die. After the Voidwalker said that Naruto felt his feet getting eaten slowly by something he could not see, immense pain shot from his feet as it slowly was getting eaten away. Naruto screamed at the top of his lungs. The pain from his left arm from earlier was not this much. I don't want to go out like this. I'm not done yet. Get me out of here. How do you like me now? Was the Voidwalker's mocking answer to the boy. Naruto's legs are almost done. Soon his upper torso will be disintegrated and he will be no more. But still he holds on, concentrating with all his might to destroy the ball holding him prisoner. Not yet. I will not die this way. Just as he said that, a voice different from the Kyuubi whispered in his ear. Call my name and my power is yours to command. What is your name? Was Naruto's question. You already know it. You just need to remember. Look into your primal memories. Primal memories? As he said that, an image popped in his head. A name. But it was still blurred. He can't read it properly. Naruto concentrated hard on the image and hoped that it would clear out. That was his last hope, the last stand. And then it appeared, Malibog von Baptiste. Naruto screamed the name, and as he said so, the process of his disintegration stopped, and as fast as his lower body disappeared, it was being reconstructed in a fast rate. Not even Kyuubi did not have this much regenerative powers. Naruto let out the power that was slowly building up inside of him, the same power as that of the Voidwalker. He saw his left hand and was amazed. The fingers became smooth, pointed, and was colored a blood red with his palm, and the rest of his arm was colored black with red and violet veins here and there. Let's try this new power, shall we? Naruto charged his new left arm with the dark matter and hurled a black crescent blade at the Voidwalker. Naruto was expecting to watch a light show, but the Voidwalker just dispelled the blade and laughed where he stood. Naruto was utterly surprised when the creature clapped its hands, and with a tiny pop and a lot of smoke changed into a smaller form. It looked like a guy with a flaming skull for a head with a crown of black lightning floating above his head. Congratulations, young Void Demon. You have now harnessed and learned how to use the great power of the Void Chakra. Remember that Void Chakra is the power is creation and destruction. You can use it for anything you require. The limit is your imagination. Let me just give you some warnings and dash. What the hell was that? 1 second you're trying to kill me and take over my body, and now you're congratulating me. What's the deal? This better not be some trap you set up. The skull guy chuckled and explained that he was the king of the void demons in Onamakai, and that he came personally to test the newest void demon, as it has been said that he is a special case. Why Naruto was special he did not say. Now continuing where I left off. Warnings. Warning number 1. Do not use Void Chakra to enhance your body parts, as it will explode due to the immense power Void Chakra contains. Warning number 2. As you are human, do not use it for extended periods of time, as it will slowly destroy your body. Mortal bodies are not made for the immense power the Void offers. Warning number 3. Excess usage of the Void Chakra will give out your location to the demon hunters. Now these hunters kill demons to preserve their so-called balance every time you use it. It's like firing a signal into the sky. The more you use, the bigger the signal. Now these demon hunters don't mind or care about the small signals that spark for the normal usage of that power. But if they sense a big one, they'll be after you like rabid dogs to a bone. They will not stop until they have their mark. Only way out is to fight. Be warned that these hunters are well skilled and have extensive knowledge on how the void works. If you don't have any questions, then I'll be off. Naruto was gaping at what he had just learned and therefore held unable to speak. If so, then that is all. I will send you back to consciousness, and I'll go home. With a flick of his fingers, Naruto awoke in a dark cave. It was already the evening and he was really sweating. He opted to take a bath to calm himself and to let his mind digest what had just transpired. He went to the nearby lake and dove to the waters. Kyuubi has been quiet until now, and he was still intrigued about that other voice he heard a while back. He inspected his left arm. It was unlike the form he had earlier. It was just like his regular arm. Although there were minute changes, the fingernails became sharp and pointed, almost claw-like. The skin became a darker color than his normal skin, and there were small glowing black patches all over his skin. When he looked into the water, he saw that his left eye changed as well. His iris, normally colored blue, changed. It was now colored white, while the sclera, which was normally white, became an inky black. Now his eye looked like the full moon in a starless night, and around his eyes, there were faintly glowing, pulsing veins. After taking a bath, he got dressed and opted to bandage his left arm to hide the glowing black patches. After he was done, he got something to eat and then went to sleep. Things still felt unreal to him, as though he was just dreaming. Scene change. Naruto's mindset. Kyuubi was still unconscious and was sprawled on the floor looking lifeless. Then from the shadows another figure appeared outside the cage of Kyuubi. The figure walked forwards and went right through the bars of the cage. It made its way towards Kyubi. It focused the same black energy to its right arm. After a while, it glowed white, and the figure brought it to Kyubi's chest. Immediately, Kyubi came to and even managed to launch a punch at the figure. "Don't. I'm on your side," it said as it evaded the punch. "I was the reason you're still alive. At least give me some recognition." "Really now? Let me thank you by killing you, you lying bastard." Kyubi charged at the figure and blows were exchanged. Kyubi launched a fireball at the figure just to be surprised that it just absorbed the attack. "Okay, this is getting nowhere. Let me just show you." With that, the figure attached a chakra string to Kyubi's forehead, and there Kyubi was able to see the events that transpired earlier. "So you're telling the truth, Malibog, right?" Kyubi said apologetically. "Yes, as I was saying a while ago, and you could call me Mailed. We're not formal here. My name is kinda long," Mailed said jokingly. "Now, back to business. I revived you to guide Naruto further in his training. He must fully master all the ninja arts to be able to progress to the use of Void Chakra. He's already quite capable, as you have seen," said Kyubi. "Yes, he is capable, but not a master yet. The use of Void Chakra requires grand mastery of the arts, because if something were to go wrong during the use of Void Jutsus, the effects would be devastating to the user and his immediate surrounding." Kyubi was thinking intently on it and agreed. It was not only Naruto's life that was on the line, but also hers. "Okay, I'll teach him all that I could. Thank you for your effort. And for that I will grant you a physical body you can use to further train the boy. Be warned that you are bound to Naruto. Do something not according to the agreement, and you shall die," came Mail's warning. "I understand." Scene change. Back to reality. Naruto was woken up by a stone that was thrown on his forehead. "Who the hell did that?" Naruto screamed while massaging his forehead. He was thoroughly surprised to see Kyubi in the flesh and smiling maliciously at him. "Nice to see you in the real world, kid." Naruto was shocked at that. He checked his eyes and even stuck a kunai on his leg. "Ouch. That hurt. So this is not a dream. How the hell did you get out of your prison?" "Came to destroy Konoha, eh? Go ahead. I don't give a rat's ass to that hellhole. Unfortunately, I didn't escape. I was given a physical body by Mail to train you in the use of all ninja arts to prepare you to utilize Void Jutsus." Malibog. "Yes, that's him." Kyubi smiled at Naruto even more. "Let's start, shall we? I'll work you to the ground for you to learn everything." Kyubi then laughed maniacally. Naruto's sweat dropped. "I'm so screwed. I'm so gonna die. Prepare for hell, kid." The torture that Kyubi called training began. Since the Naruto already went through with the body pound, a new training regimen was arranged by Kyubi, and it was nothing short of suicide. Flashback. 1 month earlier, Naruto first saw the Kyubi in the real world with a corporeal form, and to say that he was shocked was an understatement. He had eyes as wide as dinner plates, and his mouth hung open, gaping onto the form of Kyubi. "Wow, you're like hot," was the first thing Naruto uttered. And how could he not say those words? Kyubi was wearing a small, white tank top, cut just above the abdomen, an open red vest, a red miniskirt, and brown boots. One would not see the sadistic tendencies that Kyubi has when you look at her in this form. "Flattery won't take you anywhere, boy," Kyubi said with a menacing smile. "You're gonna wish you were never born after I'm through with you." Naruto tried to run for it, but a kunai buried itself in Naruto's arm, and without warning it glowed for a while and a portal appeared and sucked Naruto in. When Naruto came to, he found himself in a mountainous area, but something was amiss. The place seemed darker than normal. Lightning frequently streaked in the sky, and the clouds were colored red and the sky a dark purple. Am I still in Konoha? Or am I even still on Earth? As Naruto was pondering, he sensed slight movements in the bush nearby. He then proceeded to launch small water balls the size of bullets to the offending bush courtesy of Suiton. Water bullet drill, tearing it apart in the process. Naruto was almost ready to drive his fist to the something next to him only for it to be stopped by Kyubi. "Easy, kid. It's just me." "Sheesh," Kyubi said, irritated that her student attacked her. "You could have told me at you." "You know," Naruto said apologetically. Between the water bullets and the throwing of the punch, I really didn't know when to do that," Kyubi said, letting go of Naruto's hand. Anyway, where the hell am I and what the hell are we gonna do here?" Naruto said, looking around the place. "Oh, sorry for not telling you earlier." "Ahem. Welcome to Onamakai Realm of the Demons, where you can enjoy backbreaking training, uncomfortable living conditions, and a big chance to be eaten by the demons," Kyubi said, sounding like a game show host telling the winners their prize. Right, Naruto said while sweat dropping. "So let's begin, shall we?" Assessment. You have mastery of the jutsus in the human side, but now you need to grasp the jutsus in the demon side, and let me tell you that though it's not that different for the human side jutsus, you will experience some difficulty with it as you won't be using your chakra. "But mine," Kyubi concluded. "Huh? But I thought you had your own body now. asked Naruto. Yeah, I have a body now, but my original body is still stuck inside you, so in theory you can command the vast energies contained within it, said Kyubi, sounding like a college professor explaining a hard topic. Ahem. As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted. Human-side jutsus focus on the channeling of chakra in the body, harmonizing it, and changing its properties to execute the jutsu you want. Well, demon-side jutsus work in the same way, but with a different energy source. You humans call it demon chakra, but we call it mana, Kyubi explained. Oh, right, said Naruto. I am so dead. So we're gonna work on how you can use my chakra at will. Some physical training, then if you're still alive, you will learn all about your heritage and the void jutsus, said Kyubi. Sounds like a plan, said Naruto with ideas of running away already in his mind. Oh, and don't think of running away, cause I'm gonna hunt you down, boy, warned Kyubi. Never crossed my mind, said Naruto, feeling his insides churn. One more thing. What's up with that eye? Kyubi said while pointing to Naruto's left eye. Oh, this? I really don't know what this is. All I remember is that this appeared after I fought with that void guy. Maybe it's connected with the void chakra in some way, Naruto explained. Right. Then Kyubi's eye suddenly lightened up. She suddenly remembered something. Mailed said something about the Jigakugan. Hell, he said it was supposed to allow the wielder to manipulate the very fabric of reality and time according to what they desire. Or something like that. I'm not really sure, said Kyubi while scratching her head. Not really good with lectures, she added. In flashback. And so it began. Again, the grueling training, and more training. During the first 2 months, Naruto grasped the method on how to use mana to augment his power. Mana being more powerful and dense than human chakra meant that Naruto would be faster and his attacks would pack an extra oomph to it. Another couple of months and Naruto could already execute SS class to SSS class demon side jutsus with no difficulty, and has even come up with a few of his own jutsus. Another month, and he was able to fuse elemental sills, creating compound elements. Congratulations, Maggot, you have reached halfway point in demon jutsu training, and let me say that you do not disappoint me, said Kyubi, giving her student a little praise. Now climb that mountain and don't get back here till you do it in less than 30 minutes. Kyubi said while pointing to a mountain so high it seems to pierce the sky. Easy. Be back in 10 minutes, and I'm even gonna bring you a boulder back as a souvenir, Naruto said while pumping mana to his feet and ran at blinding speeds. After 10 minutes and 30 seconds. You're late, kid. And you know what that means, don't you? Said Kyubi, relishing the moment. Hey. You said 30 minutes, and I did it in just 10 minutes, said Naruto, looking for a way to worm himself out. No excuses, kid. You said 10 minutes, and you came back 30 seconds late. Kyubi was smiling menacingly at Naruto. He knew that they would go sparring if he did something wrong, and that woman is merciless even to her student. God help my soul, was all Naruto could say. Get ready, kid. 3, 2, 1. And with that, Kyubi charged at Naruto and delivered a series of punches and kicks so fast her hands and feet could not be seen. Naruto evaded almost all of them, knowing that blocking would be equal to suicide. A kick hit him in the midsection and sent him flying towards some rocks, but he didn't hit it. Before he got there, Kyubi delivered a nasty elbow to his back, planting him firmly to the ground. She was thoroughly surprised as he popped out of existence and felt a powerful kick planting her on the ground. Nice one, kid. Time to let out all the stops, Kyubi said while standing up and doing some hand seals. Naruto did the same, thinking of using a defensive jutsu. Futon. Fan of the demon winds. Just then a strong wind blew and multitudes of visible green-colored wind blades appeared, destroying the area before Kyubi, but Naruto was safe underground courtesy of Doton. Underground submarine voyage. Naruto brought out a kunai and used Raidon shock sword to charge at lightning and increase its effective length, extending it above ground, and then traveled fast toward Kyubi, looking like an earthen shark. Kyubi saw this early and jumped to avoid the attack and countered with a powerful punch to the ground, sending shockwaves all around, forcing Naruto out into the open. Kyubi then proceeded to bombard Naruto with black fire foxes with fox arts, demon fox fire. Naruto had a lot of difficulty avoiding the jutsu as it has a large area of effect. After the fire maelstrom was done, a big molten hole appeared where the jutsu hit. Damn it, are you gonna kill me? That was way too advanced, shouted Naruto. I'll try to, plus you dodged it, so no harm done. Let's continue, shall we? And with that, Kyubi blurred out of existence and appeared behind Naruto. A punch in the back sent him flying again, and Kyubi followed with an enhanced version of Suiton. Water bullet drill and fired large bullets the size of cannonballs at Naruto. He sensed the attack and countered with an enhanced Raidon. Lightning shard, pumping it with mana instead of just chakra. The effect was a light show. Dark lightning tendrils shot from his hand and zapped the water bullets and even moved in to strike Kyubi with a blast as if following his will. Nice jutsu, kid, shouted Kyubi, clearly impressed at the progress of her student. Then she charged again and punched the ground, sending sharp rocks toward Naruto, who evaded them with ease, but was caught off guard as a punch collided with the back of his head, sending him crashing down toward the ground. Again, Kyubi blurred out of existence, and so did Naruto. A series of blows that sent shockwaves reverberating everywhere were exchanged, and the ground trembled. "Game over, kid," Kyubi said as she moved in to strike Naruto with her fist. But the fist just stopped short of hitting Naruto's face, and almost immediately everything all around Naruto began to melt away, and several arms appeared on the ground and started to pull him down. When he was down to his waist, the sinking stopped, and he saw monstrous forms approaching him and looking real menacing. Back in reality, Naruto merely stood in his place, screaming and looking as though he was being held by something. "Not bad, kid, but you've got to watch those Jinjutsu spells. Real deadly in the battlefield," Kyubi said haughtily. Then, without warning, the ground underneath Kyubi erupted and magma gushed out, followed by molten rock demons. "Counter Jinjutsu, real handy in the battlefield," Naruto said while laughing his ass off. "You're so dead, kid. It's on," Kyubi said with a little killing intent. "Wow. Broke out so fast, eh? I even compounded that Jinjutsu 2 times," Naruto said while smiling. His smile soon faded as he saw what Kyubi was doing. She was surrounded by a lot of chakra, and that only meant one thing: a deadly light show of deathly death. "I just hate it when she gets pissed like that," Naruto said while focusing mana into a jutsu. "Let's see if this can hold." Udon, Lava Blast Wave Technique versus Inkuten, Tidal Flame. Two waves of opposing fire hit each other, fighting for supremacy. Kyubi's a molten lava wave that increased the ambient temperature all around. Naruto's a super hot wave of flame that also increased the temperature. Everything within a 100-meter radius burned. That included any creatures in the vicinity. Plants, and even the rocks turned to lava. "Burn!" shouted Kyubi as her lava wave gained the upper hand and was gaining on her opponent. Naruto, seeing this, flared his chakra and increased the power of the jutsu. 5 minutes went by and both jutsu were still fighting. After a while, both jutsu faltered and disappeared. After the smoke cleared, Kyubi charged with a right-on lightning pike on her right hand. It looked deadly, and Naruto, not wanting to be caught, focused his chakra and formed a spiral on his hand and added the ice element to it. Hayaton. Dark water and series of strikes followed. Kyubi thrusting the pike at blinding speeds, and Naruto evaded the strikes and attacked with precise slashes, but those were blocked too. Kyubi put some distance between them and whirled the lightning pike in a circular motion, getting faster, and then lightning shaped like a circle appeared, and after that she thrust the pike, lining pike arts. Arc lightning, then a powerful bolt of lightning came forth from the blade of the pike and made a beeline for Naruto. Dark water arts. Ice armor. Naruto was then covered with a thick armor of ice that deflected most of the attack, but Naruto was thrown back by the remaining power of the bolt. "My turn," said Naruto. Dark water arts. Icicle dragon. A large ice dragon was formed from the moisture in the air and moved in to strike a surprised-looking Kyubi. One final strike of the dragon and Kyubi's weapon flickered out of existence. Naruto smiled, thinking he won, but his legs failed him. His weapon disintegrated, and he sat on the ground. "Chakra levels low. Seems like we're at a stalemate," said Naruto, clearly exhausted, panting and covered in sweat. "This ain't over, kid," said Kyubi softy, also tired. "If only I had my full power, you'd be reduced to ashes right now." "Spar over," Naruto said, aiming to end the fight already. "Spar over," Kyubi said while exhaling. Both combatants collapsed onto the ground and rested their tired bodies. The next day, Naruto was woken by a slap to the face. He caught the offending hand and wasn't surprised to see the owner of the hand was Kyubi. "What do you want?" Naruto said, clearly irritated that his rest was disturbed. "Get you ass of the ground. We got training to do," said Kyubi. "I was afraid of this. Here we go again. Pain, suffering, and more pain," Naruto said, wishing he was out of there. "What was that?" Kyubi said menacingly. "Nothing. Nothing. I said I'm coming," Naruto said. Time skip. 5 months later. After 5 months of back-breaking, mind-numbing training, Naruto was ready to learn the Void Jutsus. His strength was equal to that of a Class S Demon Ogre and has mastered the use of SSSS Class Demon Side Jutsus. He was ready for the next step, stepping to the Void and controlling it. Scene: Void King's Chambers. The Void Walker Naruto fought within his mindset was seated on the throne and was looking at him. "My name is Haru, and I will be personally teaching you the way to the Void," said the king. "To be able to utilize Void Jutsus, you must integrate all that you have learned and have peak concentration levels, so this is not about body power, but more on mind power." "Oh, great concentrating. Something I really suck at," Naruto whispered. "No worries, boy. We will work on that as we go on our training," said Haru. "You heard that?" I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, Naruto said while bowing. Chapter 5, Heritage. Here I am again to bring you another mind-numbing chapter. Disclaimer: Naruto does not belong to me, and neither does the other things I use here that are not mine, blah blah blah. Onto the story. The king then ordered everybody to leave the room save for Naruto. Kyuubi passed by him and smiled. Knock him out, kid, she said. That would be the last time he would see her for a very, very long time. After the other have left, the king went closer to Naruto. Before I teach you how to utilize the void, you must first learn what we do and how we came to be, said Haru. The first void demons were just tools for the gods, meant as a balancing force. They were assassins and executioners that were meant to do the gods' dirty work for them. But then after a while, the void demons grew tired of their servitude and aimed to break free from their chains. They waged war against the gods, but then they lost and was thrown into Wanamakai. And as punishment, they were stripped of their powers and left them weak and vulnerable against the outside forces, holding no alliance with anyone or anything, so we really are segregated from the rest of the demon clans. Then after eons of searching for a way to get their old power back, they finally made it. They found the gods of creation and destruction and assimilated their powers, so modern void demons really are part gods. But again, I warn you, there are certain limitations in using the void that should not be overlooked. You would do well to remember that. Now the gods were afraid that the void demons would wage another war on them, so they tasked the elite demon hunters to keep us in check, and so it has been like that for millions of years. It's like a live and let live policy between the two of us. We leave them alone, and they do the same for us, and it has been working well so far. Although there have been some void demons that have left the clan to find their path to power, and some who died by the hands of these demon hunters. But enough about that. You've got training to do. And with that, Haru clapped his hands and motioned Naruto to follow him. They ended up in a large chamber. Haru closed the door and looked at Naruto. First things first, concentration, the greatest weapon a void demon could have, said Haru. Let me give you an explanation as to how it would work, he said as he charged up a familiar dark energy and opened a portal. Welcome to my world. Void demons of high skill could do this. Make their own territory where everything is done according to their will. I call this void arts. Reality lapse. Would you enter, please, said Haru. Naruto entered the portal and arrived in an area devoid of anything. Just swirling black energy. Observe, said Haru. As soon as he had said that, everything changed. He was instantly teleported to a garden full of flowers, then a flash of light, and he was in a scorching desert. Then a large sandworm appeared in front of him and then swallowed him whole. Another flash of light, and he was back in that devoid space, unharmed. You see, I could make this certain area whatever I wanted to. All the laws of the universe are subject to my will. The limit is your imagination. Cool. So when do I start? Exclaimed Naruto, clearly impressed at all the potential this new power offered him. Haru canceled the jutsu, and they were back again in that chamber. Then Haru opened another portal, only this time it was a smaller one. Step into the void, and it will teach you all you should know. Be warned that failure means certain death, and that there would be nobody accompanying you. You must finish training and pass the test all within a month, or you fail altogether. Do you understand? Said Haru. Yes. Naruto said, clearly determined to get that power for himself. Time skip. 1 month. This is the moment of truth. If everything goes right, a portal would appear and Naruto would step out. Either Naruto would succeed or he dies. Let's see what makes him really special, said Haru. Kyuubi was there too, and some of the king's most trusted friends, waiting for the return of the new Voidwalker. Moments passed, but still no portal opened. Haru still waited patiently for Naruto to return. Hours passed and still nothing was happening, until finally, the time has come and still no Naruto. How could this be? Said Haru, clearly disappointed that Naruto didn't pass the final test. I trained him, and now this? You better come back here, kid, or I will personally go there and drag you back myself, said Kyuubi defiantly, but inside she was feeling a little sad, which was not normal for a demon considering they don't have any emotions. Somehow she got emotionally attached to the kid. Then a fluctuation in the space-time continuum. A portal finally appeared and out stepped an irritated-looking Naruto. Rush Hour was a killer, said Naruto while scratching the back of his head. And another thing, Kyu-chan, I heard what you said a while ago. You like me, or what? He said while smiling at her. Dream on, kid. I just said that so I could beat you up myself, Kyuubi said, feeling very happy Naruto was able to come back. After that, everyone was surprised to see that Naruto had a change of clothes. He was now wearing a tattered red cape which moved on its own as if it were alive and had jagged, claw-like edges, held in place over his shoulders and lower face by several buckles. Underneath his cape is a black leather shirt and pants with several straps and buckles adorning them. and finally a ceramic opera mask on the side of his head. "So, what happened while you were inside?" said Haru, breaking the silence. "Well, first I got to this desolate island where nobody seemed to live. And then after a while 2 figures appeared. One was a guy wearing full armor. It was colored black with red trimmings. He had a red horn on his helmet. His right hand looked unnatural. I had a fanged mouth on the shoulder. Looked bigger than his left one, and the hand was replaced with 3 wicked claws, and he was holding a large sword twice as big as him that looked like it had flesh coming out, and it even had a large demon eye in the center. Said his name was Chaos. The other one was a female, probably the most beautiful I had laid my eyes on. She wore a flowing robe and had seraph wings, and she was carrying a small crystal on her right hand. She was Cosmos," said Naruto, recalling the past. "Chaos and Cosmos. They were the ones that trained you? They are the gods of creation and destruction that I told you about," said Haru, clearly surprised. "Please continue," he said. "Actually, they really did not train me. At the time that I stayed there, we just fought. No rest, no nothing, just fighting and no holding back. Chaos was a master swordsman and close combat specialist, fast and strong attacks. Really hard to dodge, and he sticks like glue wherever I go, while Cosmos was a long-range jutsu specialist. She kept bombarding me with different elemental jutsus while I was forced to maneuver to strategic locations due to Chaos attacks. At first, I got my ass handed to me, but as time went by, I learned to use the Void. The trick was just to concentrate on what you really want to turn out in a battle and channel your very soul into it. Only then shall the Void reveal itself. I learned that when Chaos was just about to behead me, talk about right timing, I really thought that was the end. When I learned how to use the Void, I was able to fight against the 2 for hours on end, but in the end I still get beaten because they used Void jutsus as well. Finally, I was able to defeat them on the 20th day. Before they left, I offered them the Chrysogrim as a token of my appreciation. And so I spent my remaining time exploring that place. Turns out that even the first Void demons were there too, so I challenged them to a fight. I didn't expect all of them to attack at once, so I had a hard time beating them. So I was kinda held back a couple of hours," Naruto concluded. "You beat Chaos and Cosmos and then even managed to beat the first Void Walkers? Now I know why you are special. Mastery of the Void comes to you once you have grasped it. You are the one destined to bring the Void on to new heights and bring us back into power," claimed Haru. "Really? Wow. That's tough," said Naruto. "Don't worry. Everything in time. Now let's see how much you have matured. Care for a spar?" said Haru as he assumed his fighting stance. Rather unusual, as an unseen energy began to envelope him, and he began to levitate. "Strange stance you got there." "I'm getting excited," said Naruto as he assumed his own stance. He hunched his back, and a familiar red energy began to surround his whole body, then formed wicked claws on his hands, rabbit-like ears on his head, and 4 tails on his back. As they got to their stances, most of the people in the room left. Only those who wanted to see the power of the new Void Walker stayed, expecting a lot from this spar. Naruto then proceeded to shoot his chakra claw at Haru, then blurred out of existence and appeared behind Haru and delivered a quick left and right swipe with his claws and finished with a powerful downward strike enriched with mana. A small explosion followed that created a small crater around the combatants. Naruto was thoroughly surprised when the smoke cleared to see that Haru had been unscathed and looking happily at him. Nice opening attack, quick and powerful, but unfortunately not powerful enough to break the mana shields I have put up. "My turn," said Haru as he punched the space before him multiple times as if beating something. Then Naruto felt the shockwaves of invisible energy hit him, and he was driven to a wall and was embedded to it. Then came Naruto's answer: Fox Arts. Demon Fox Breath. A fist-sized black fireball that made its way to Haru, fast as a bullet. It hit, and a large explosion followed, and Naruto charged at Haru again, clawing at him like a rabid animal. Then Naruto got thrown away by the invisible energy again. Haru formed ice stakes courtesy of Hayatan, Tears of the North, and launched them at Naruto, who got hit but just poofed into smoke. Naruto then appeared above Haru and locked a Kage Bunshin bomb charged with a lot of mana. It connected and another large explosion followed. "Pyromaniac, aren't you? Here's my answer," said Haru, clearly amused at the battle that was slowly unfolding. He then proceeded to form lightning orbs around him right on Raijin's breath, and then activated them and sent a wave of electricity towards Naruto's general direction. Naruto, in an attempt to counter, covered himself in mana and his own blood. He then expelled chakra particles from his body, mixed it with the blood and mana, then gathered the small orbs into a small spherical ball of pure power, then compressed the orb down and swallowed it. The energy started to build inside of Naruto, and at its peak he released it, firing an extremely powerful blast that decimated the surrounding area and destroyed the chamber they were in, while the spectators got out of the way and continued watching. 2 blasts of power. One of pure mana and the other of lightning fought for supremacy. But Haru, being more powerful than Naruto, overpowered his blast, and Naruto came face to face with pure lightning, almost incinerating him. Lucky for Naruto, he was able to release the remaining 5 tails of Kyuubi and gave him more power and defensive capabilities. As the smoke clears, Naruto is seen standing among the rubble, ready for another round. Who will win? Nobody knows. The 9 tails of the Kyuubi. Ominous power gushed from Naruto, obscuring him from view. Haru was surprised that Naruto would be able to handle the sheer power that Kyuubi's mana contained. In the blink of an eye, Haru was thrown towards the sky hard, but he didn't even see Naruto move. He was just there, standing in his position. Then he saw a fleeting glimpse of a silhouette positioned on his back, which proceeded to pound him with blows that sent shockwaves that tore the ground all around them asunder. Then he heard a loud and heavy voice, "Demon Arts, Hell Fong." Several large demon heads shot out from the hand of the shadow. Haru tried to right himself and evade, but then the skulls just followed him wherever he went. Haru was caught unaware as the shadow appeared in front of him and held him down. The skulls were closing in and then exploded on his back, sending him crashing to the ground below. He was unharmed, however, as his mana shields endured that last brutal attack. "Very good, Naruto. Not its time to get serious," Haru said as he stretched out both his arms and concentrated. Then energy shackles appeared, binding him in place. He broke them, and suddenly his power spiked up. The energy levitating him could now be seen. It was colored a bright violet and was moving around violently as if trying to strike something. The immediate area around him was decimated due to the power he was emitting. Then the energy calmed and assumed a spectral humanoid form. It looked like a samurai warrior holding a katana that had the size of a broadsword. Think Orin's sword in FFX. It donned full armor and had a bow resting on its back. Naruto smiled in the distance. Change was also apparent in Naruto. The clothes in his upper body disappeared, revealing the glowing interlocking seals that had spread, which originated from the main seal on his stomach. His hands and feet grew wicked claws and was covered in blood-red mana, which also formed large claws. His hair grew long and wild and was tinged red on the ends. The normal white iris of the Jigokugen along with his normal right eye became red with slitted pupils. The marks on his cheeks grew more defined. His teeth became fangs, and the 9 distinct mana tails appeared on his back. He knew this would be a good battle. "Let's start, shall we?" He whispered as he charged towards Haru. The space around him distorted due to the extreme speed. The onlookers were amazed at the power of the boy. This would surely be something to tell the grandkids. As Naruto charged, he held out his arms and 2 pillars of flame sprouted from it. Demon Arts, Mincer blades. He wielded it like twin blades and jumped to meet with the spectral samurai. The 2 crossed swords. Naruto had the advantage of speed while Haru had the advantage of pure power. Naruto opened with a dual slash, which was easily blocked and countered with a thrust. Naruto jumped out of the way and threw one sword at Haru. Unfortunately, it wasn't strong enough to pierce the improved mana armor. He brought out another one and combined it to form a larger and broader edge and brought it down on Haru with brutal force, trying to break the mana armor. Streaks of energy flew out everywhere as the 2 battled. Haru felt his armor dent, so he countered and slashed at Naruto. Haru was faster than what Naruto had thought. Fortunately, he was able to dodge that last attack. He put some distance between them and flung the swords at Haru and made a one-handed tiger seal and pointed it at Haru. Both swords then split into multitudes of swords each and proceeded to bombard Haru with a rain of fire. Finally, Haru was hit and he was thrown off. He got to his feet, blood running down the side of his mouth. He wiped off the blood and with a broad grin readied the specter's bow. "My turn, Demon Arts. Arrow bomb," he said as the specter pulled back the bow and released an energy bomb toward Naruto. When he saw this, Naruto spiked his mana and brought his left arm forward. Demon Arts, Spider Warbow. A large golden longbow with 8 limbs with the strings converging at the center appeared. Naruto pulled the string and an arrow made out of pure energy appeared. He pulled the string more and added more mana to it, and at the last second released. What followed was a huge explosion that sent reverberating shockwaves even through the fabric of space and time. Haru wondered if Naruto had survived that and was hoping the battle would go on longer. When the smoke has cleared, Naruto was nowhere to be seen. Maybe that was a tad too much, Haru thought. Then a flash of light and multiple bolts of energy appeared from the sky and exploded in the area around Haru, throwing him off again. "That was nice, surprising me like that. You really have learned a lot," Haru said. His blood clearly awakened. "What can I say? I learned from the best," Naruto said while landing in front of Haru. He threw the bow at Haru, charged and assaulted Haru with a flurry of slashes and kicks. Haru blocked with the spectral sword and knocked Naruto away with the handle. Then he sheathed the blade and quickly brought it out, performing a slash that sent a large crescent blade of air at Naruto. Naruto met with the blade and deflected it, but he didn't see Haru charging at him. Haru then proceeded with 2 left slashes and 2 right slashes. But the damage done was not that of just 4 blows. It looked like 1,000 blows were given. Naruto was in a pinch. He was on the defensive. He was cut up real bad, and the worst part of it is that the healing of his wounds were going a lot slower than usual. It was going slower than a snail. But then he thought of an escape. He made some of his mana slither away a good distance from Haru, and then concentrated demon arts. Mana transport. Then he was transported to the spot where the mana was. The place where he was before, which had some mana residues, exploded and sent Haru flying. Naruto was badly bleeding, and it would be a good time to use the void. He concentrated hard and found himself back in his mindscape. Scene change. Naruto's mindscape. He was in front of a large door, and as he was about to open it, a very familiar voice called out to him. "Are you sure of what you are doing?" came Mail's voice. "Of course, Void Keeper," said Naruto. "I'm having fun. Don't be a spoil, huh? But you may not have the proper abilities to fully control it yet. The last time you used it, I was regulating its flow so you were able to use it effectively. Without me, one mistake could spell your death," said Mail grimly. Flashback. Chaos and Cosmos fight. As Chaos was about to deliver the finishing blow, everything stopped for Naruto, and he was transported to his mindscape. There he met with Malibulk. "I am the Void Keeper. If you want power, rise above the rest and beat me," he said. "Power is what I need." "What are your terms?" said Naruto. "Defeat me in a competition, and you shall have a taste of the power the void offers," came Mail's voice. "Competition, eh?" said Naruto, thinking of what to do. "Let's compete with rock, paper, scissors." Naruto exclaimed, raising his fist above his head. "Rock, paper, scissors," said Mail, sweat-dropping. "What? You said competition. You didn't say fight, so it's a fair competition. Luck is part of a battle where you put your life on the line. You put everything you have in that one move, and so will I. If I lose, I offer up my life," said Naruto. "Fair. Then let's start," said Mailed. In flashback. "I think I can control it, and what's life without some gamble? It's the spice that makes life more fun," said Naruto. "Cocky as usual. Don't tell me I didn't warn you," said Mailed. "I'll be going now," said Naruto as he opened the door. As soon as he did so, immense void energy flooded out and filled his whole body. Back in the real world, Naruto was surrounded in a very large amount of void energy, and he seemed to be unconscious. He levitated in an awkward manner and screamed in pain. His body contorted into different positions and he fell quiet, still levitating. Then an explosion of energy that imploded and formed a sphere of immense power. Haru was impressed with what he saw. Naruto had finally awakened, and the best part of the battle is going to begin. 8, 7, 6. Haru was counting down to the seconds till the orb reveals the what Naruto had become. 5, 4, 3. Haru then released his void form and prepared for battle. Black energy poured from his body and covered it and then receded. His face became like that of a young man with dark hair with a glowing crown on his head. He had glowing violet eyes and a slash across his right eye. His canines were elongated, making him look like a vampire. The upper body looked like that of a normal slim human male, but the similarities end there. His left hand had elongated and sharp fingers with a sharp blade running past his elbow. His right hand was also elongated but covered with a black gauntlet which had a faint dark aura around it. He donned light shoulder armor and a breastplate. His lower body looked like the hind legs of a dragon with a clubbed tail with spikes. He was surrounded with an aura of dark snakes slithering all around him. 2, 1, showtime, he said as the orb broke down and revealed Naruto's void form. A half-seraph on the right side and a half-demon on the left. Both the demon side and the seraph side had white hair that was slicked back with some spiky ends pointing down. Think Virgil's hair in DMC3. The demon side had a dark flaming crown atop its head, while the seraph had a halo. A horn could be seen on the forehead of the demon, while the seraph had a small angel wing on the side of its head. The mask had also changed, gaining horns, the mouth getting fanged and changing color. It was now colored black with streaks of red. Both sides donned light armor with chains with serrated edges floating around the demon side, while there was flowing sashes around the seraph side. Both sides' abdomen was missing because in its place was a large glowing orb generating large amounts of power. The demon side's hand had an armored claw, while the seraph's had a large knuckle duster. The demon side's leg had barbed wire around the lower part, and the shoes ended with a blade. The seraph's side looked normal. Then there were swords opposite the sides, a demonic sword and a holy sword. Naruto spread out his wings and took to the sky, and there he proceeded to bombard Haru with void arts. Mateo blast meteor-shaped projectiles launched from his hands and bombarded the location, however. Haru did not move a muscle as the meteors pounded him and exploded. Void Arts, Aegis of Absolute Protection. When the smoke cleared, a shield appeared which blocked the attack completely. It faded away, and a large beam of black energy knocked Naruto out of the sky. Compliments of Void Arts. Shadow Blast. Naruto stood up, still smoking from the last attack, and waved his hands around like a conductor in an orchestra. Void Arts. Crescendo of Destruction. Then the earth trembled and released flaming hot magma covering Haru. Then cutting winds solidified it, then water spikes skewered the pile of hardened magma, and for the finale, a lightning beast went down from the heavens and came crashing down on Haru. Performance done. Thank you for watching, said Naruto while bowing. He seemed to have two voices talking at the same time. Then came Haru's voice. Not so fast, kid, it's not over yet. You've been doing good until now. You really don't disappoint. We have just merely begun. Then shall we? He said as he charged up the void for an attack. Haru became covered in the black energy as large amounts of it came billowing out of his body, and then he began to float, higher and higher until he stopped. He held out his right hand and focused on a point close to Naruto. The point where he focused began to collapse. It looked as if a black hole had materialized there. Everything was getting sucked in, including Naruto, and then with a flash of light, it exploded, sending him flying. When he got up, he was surprised to see a large hulking figure standing in front of him. At this point, most of the spectators left in fear for their lives. 40 meters tall, donning heavy black armor which emanated some unseen power. It wore a deep red cape, its fingers extended with sharp claws. Its head was completely hidden by its headgear, which looked like a fanged monster with two horns on its head. Though one seemed to be broken, it had a large spiky iron maul strapped to its back, making it look all the more menacing. Creation Arts. Chaos Servant, said Haru. Nifty trick, Let's see if you can match this guy's power. Gladly, said Naruto. I thought you were just gonna stay in that shield of yours and counter my every move. That won't be any fun, would it? Well, it's no fun, but you gotta admit, it wins battles, said Haru haughtily. Yeah, whatever, said Naruto as he disappeared from his location and appeared in front of the giant and proceeded to pound it with his fists while the swords also slashed at it as if being wielded by a spectral swordsman. The swords twirled and slashed in different directions, but the giant's armor proved too tough, and after a while the giant took out its maul and swiped at Naruto in retaliation. It missed, but the force behind the blow sent Naruto spiraling. He righted himself and prepared another attack, but then Naruto was promptly stopped when the large Iron Man began to glow a shade of green. Large chunks of rock were then pulled from the ground by some unseen force. The chunks of rock were imbued with some sort of power and were launched toward Naruto. The rocks moved unpredictably, as if they had a mind of their own, so Naruto was not able to evade, got hit a couple of times. One hit him and exploded in a green energy blast, while the other hit him and encased him in a block of solid ice. Naruto broke free of the icicle, surveyed his surroundings, and looked at the Iron Man, contemplating on how best to end him. Naruto appeared behind the monster and then began to launch a combo at the giant. First, a barrage of meteors, care of Void Arts. Mateo Blast. This served to weaken the giant's armor so that the next attack would pierce it. Void Arts. Flare Star, said Naruto. Suddenly, white orbs with orange outlines surrounded the giant in every conceivable direction and released large amounts of energy bolts at the giant, and then finally exploded. And for the finale, Naruto charged the power orb in his midsection and fired a powerful blast of pure energy at the gigantic figure. After the assault, Naruto paused to look at his handiwork, and he was not disappointed with what he saw. The only thing that remained of the giant was the lower torso. Anything above that was completely disintegrated. Haru clapped his hands. Nicely done. That Tin Man had it coming, huff huff, said Naruto, clearly exhausted from that last attack. But we're not done yet. On your guard. Naruto roared and took to the sky at supersonic speeds, charged Haru, and then motioned both swords floating on either side to assault him. Both flew at Haru and began slashing. Sparks flew everywhere as the swords began their assault, but Haru just evaded or blocked the sword strikes with his Aegis. Naruto saw to this and motioned the dark sword to strike at Haru's back. He was sandwiched between two swords, unleashing ruthless slashes at him. His defense buckled, and eventually, Naruto saw an opening and gave a vicious right hook and slash combo that shattered Haru's Aegis, and then followed up with a powerful overhead slash with the two swords combined, which sent Haru flying. Damn, I finally hit you. Finally, Naruto said with glee, pumping up his fist in the air. Hiki, nice attack, congratulations on that. Now it's time to up the ante. Void form 50% release. Mashin, said Haru as his power suddenly spiked, and the very air seemed to burn with Haru's battle aura. Haru's appearance also changed with this spike in power. His lower body then transformed and now looked humanoid in appearance and covered with what looked like leg armor. But upon closer inspection, it was really dragon scales. 50%? Said a puzzled Naruto. So if that's just 50% release, how much power did you release earlier? 20%, answered Haru. Ah, I'm screwed, Naruto deadpanned. Haha, not really. The fun is just getting started, said Haru, hardly being able to hide his excitement. Fun, he says. Come on, let's dance, said Naruto as he flew toward the newly empowered Haru, only to be stopped 10 meters from him, and was then blasted back with such force that it was visible to the naked eye. And with a snap of his fingers, Haru sent wind blades at Naruto and then followed with a vicious heel drop that literally buried Naruto into the ground. Naruto stood up and, with a wave of his hands, charged his swords with explosive power and motioned the swords to thrust at Haru. An elemental explosion followed, which knocked Haru off his feet. The explosion tore right through Haru's improved Aegis and then tore a molten, gaping hole on the ground which missed him by just a couple of inches. Oh, so close, Haru said as he stood up and reformed his Aegis. God, not the Aegis again, said Naruto as he put some distance between them and then charged up an attack. Void Arts, Shadow Touch, Naruto said. A large black snake-like creature with a mouth full of oversized fangs erupted from Naruto's hands and made a beeline for Haru. This is when Haru noticed that Naruto had been weakened from that last attack. He noticed that this attack lacked the oomph his other attacks held. Feeling a bit let down, he had no choice but to stop the spar. You're too tired to make a halfway decent attack now. It's not a fight to the death. Let's call it a day and have a little rest, Haru said after he swatted the attack away like it was nothing. He then returned to his normal form and motioned Naruto to follow. Oh, come on, I still got a lot left in me. Let's go. Come on, Naruto pleaded while jumping up and down. Seriously, what are you? A war freak? Said Haru pointedly at Naruto. Naruto's shoulder dropped and reverted back to his human form, his right eye back to the normal bright blue, but his hair remained silver and slicked back. He touched the seal on his belly, but was stopped as he got zapped. Hey, what gives? Said Naruto. You've used too much power, so it's best not to touch that, said Haru as he looked at Naruto. Anyway, let's go back and have a bite to eat. I'm starved, Haru said, but was promptly stopped when he sensed a presence. What do you want? Haru said as he faced the newcomer. It was a bald man, maybe 30 years of age. His skin was colored white, almost like a ghost. On the left side of his face was a red tattoo passing over his eye. His upper torso was bare, showing off his muscles, and the other swirling tattoos on his left arm and left chest. On both his arms were chains that were seared to the very skin. Naruto winced at seeing this. The only article of clothing he wore are his sandals, shin guards with chains, and a kilt with gold inlays. He had a large amount of power in him, which he was suppressing, and Haru sensed this. Better play cool, Haru thought. Your services, or to be exact, my master, Gunryo wants them, the man said in a gravelly voice. We're not for hire. I'm sorry, Haru said casually. That's where I must insist. You see, my master doesn't take no for an answer, the man said gravely. Well, there's always a first time for everything, Haru said. Come on, Naruto, we're going back. At this, the man brought out 2 flaming swords which the chains on his arms are connected to and went over to Naruto and placed the blade on his throat. As I said, we don't take no for an answer, he said. Haru looked calm and assessed the situation and thought of what course of action to take. Now, we don't want any trouble, Haru said. But as he said that, Naruto released 9 tails of mana and let out a surge of power. But to his surprise, he wasn't able to shake off the man, and that the surge of energy only served to enrage him. Haru smacked his head and shook it. Hey, this one's a little green behind the ears, he said as he threw Naruto, planting him firmly into the ground. You call that a power surge? He said as he stopped suppressing his power and released it. He levitated and lightning cackled. A few seconds later, a vicious lightning storm rained down on Naruto. Son of a dash, Naruto was not able to evade. It hit him full force and charbroiled him. Naruto, screamed Haru at the lifeless-looking Naruto sprawled on the ground. You fucking asshole, Haru said with cold fury as he turned to face the white man. Does that change your mind? The white man said with a wide grin plastered on his face. Let's see if you can still smile after I'm done with you, Haru said angrily as he assumed his void form. Interesting. Let's see if you really are up to the standards of my master, said the white man as he released more of his power. Void form 120%, Juden said Haru as he faded from existence. Even the white man could not sense his presence. After a few moments of tense silence, a kind of light shone down on the white man and slowly focused into a narrow pillar of light that seemed to follow him. Then suddenly, Without warning, a huge energy beam crashed down on the white man from the skies. He survived, but expended a lot of energy deflecting the attack. Without a word, the white man shot lightning bolts at the sky in hopes of hitting Haru and bringing him down, but to no avail. He was promptly stopped when he sensed a huge power surge emanating from the seemingly lifeless form of Naruto. Naruto then levitated, his body in an awkward position. Power then surged out of him and began to envelope his entire body, which focused on the mask on his head. The strange energy was then absorbed into Naruto's body, and he stood there emanating a killer aura that almost made the white man's heart skip a beat. What is this feeling? It's as if I'm staring into the devil himself, thought the white man. Naruto screamed, and the very air turned against the white man, and it turned into a tempest that brought him to his knees. The white man, seeing that he was outnumbered and outpowered, decided to cut his losses and leave. Humph, was all the white man could say as he turned tail and fled. After the white man left, Naruto collapsed, and a number 0 was then tattooed on his chest that formed a network of seals interlocking with the 4-image seal. Haru then sealed in his power and rushed toward Naruto to check if he's alright. Scene change, Naruto and Haru's way back. On their way back, however, Naruto was jumped by Kyuubi, and they both fell on the ground with Naruto squirming like a worm. Let go, can't breathe, and Naruto choked, and Kyuubi let go. Naruto massaged his ribs and looked painfully at Kyuubi. What are you trying to do? Kill me. I was just worried, you know. I thought you were really gone there, tears almost forming in the sides of her eyes. Are my ears deceiving me? Naruto said jokingly. You? Worried? Ha ha ha, that's the funniest joke you ever said, ha ha. Naruto roared in laughter, tears of mirth forming in his eyes. Kyuubi got ticked off and slugged Naruto hard in the gut, knocking the wind out of him and making him kneel in pain. Oof, hey, what was that for? Naruto said angrily while staring at Kyuubi. Asshole, said Kyuubi as she stormed off, trying to hide the blush being formed on her cheeks. You should really be more sensitive with women's feelings. If you don't, there'll be more where that came from, Haru said as he helped Naruto up. She's a sadist, man. How could I believe that she really felt that? Have you seen her throwing balls of death and more death at me? Naruto said as they began to walk down the corridors. Well, did you see her face when you got toasted? I really thought that was genuine concern, said Haru in a father-like tone. Wait, you were fighting with the white guy back then, right? How could you still see her? Asked Naruto. Well, my senses are really developed to the point that the area in which I can sense things is really large, answered Haru. Really? Well, I really haven't thought about it like that. Her being a demon and all, said Naruto, pondering on that latest information. Well, she is in a human body now. Did it occur to you that she was becoming more human-like every time she spent in that form? Haru asked, and the fact that she stayed inside you for a long time, it seemed that she had admired you even when she was still a demon. You connected in some way, and that suppressed her appetite for the destruction of Konoha, a bond of some sort, or something like that. Explained Haru. How come you know a lot about her? Asked the puzzled Naruto. I can read others' minds, a skill that I have developed through training, though it could not be used effectively in battle. Why not? Asked Naruto again. Do you ever run out of questions? Haha, just kidding. It can't be used because the time it takes for you to read the minds of others is just too long, and you might be dead before you get what you want. Plus, there are defenses for it, answered Haru. Oh, cool. Teach me that sometime. It would be cool to know someone's deepest, darkest secrets. Ha 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 ha, for now let's go eat. I'm starving, said Naruto. Ramen? Asked Haru. Nah, I'm tired of that. Tastes like chalk. Let's try curry, said Naruto as they made their way back to the compound. Hey Q-chan, if you were the king of the demons, how come you're a girl and how come you got sealed into me? Doesn't being king mean that you're really powerful? Well, that's a big misconception you humans have towards us, Bija. I'm not actually a king, but a part of the 9 demon guardians tasked by the gods to oversee Onamakai. See, me having the most tails does not mean that I'm the most powerful, it just means that I'm the 9th member. Though having more tails than the others does have its perks, answered Kyuubi. But if that's so, then why did you guardians go off the deep end and went to the human realm and began slaughtering everything that moved? Not to mention getting sealed into little babies, asked Naruto again, making the quote sign with his fingers. That I did not know. The last thing I remembered before I got my senses back was that I was checking up on the in-between, and then all went dark. Next thing I know, I was being sealed into a baby, and I remember having a destructive feeling, but I'm all over that now. The in-between? What's that? Asked Naruto again. It is the realm between reality and the absolute void, an area of pure nothingness. I wonder what drove you to go like that, said Naruto, putting a finger on his chin while the other hand shoveling up food to put in his mouth. Time skip. 3 years later. Naruto, Age 12. Naruto had just finished training with Haru with the use of the void and has come up with his own variations of the void techniques. The day seemed nice, and it felt as if nothing could go wrong. But life always kicks your ass when you least expect it, and when you are having fun, and this day is gonna throw a shitload of problems for Naruto. It was already dark and Naruto was already tired. During the last few years, the bond between Kyuubi and Naruto got a bit more tight. You can say that they get along well now, almost like best friends, or more. Well, that is if they were not in the battlefield. Those two acted like rabid animals ready to kill and mangle each other. Naruto also found out how to use the Jigakugan. It could temporarily warp a certain area around Naruto, so that it became his territory and all was at his command from there. It was a big advantage over the reality lapse because it could be performed almost instantly as opposed to the reality lapse where you needed to open a portal and force your opponent there. The drawback being that Naruto would fade from existence for a while after using the Dijitsu, and there was the danger of disappearing permanently if the technique was abused too much. His void form also changed, signifying his mastery of the void. Haru had noted that his void form had two separate sides because Naruto still needed more control over his mana and void because both energies are demonic in nature. So both are fighting for supremacy, clashing and creating inner turmoil, and so results in a lesser void form. The trick is to harmonize both energies so that they flow together, resulting in better energy distribution and therefore a better and stronger void form. Later that night, Naruto awoke to the sound of explosions as the whole compound they were residing in felt as though it would collapse at any second. With great haste, Naruto went outside where he was greeted with a scene straight from hell. All around them, there were large, dark figures that emanated huge amounts of energy, but there was one who emanated the greatest amount, and when he felt that, a strange shiver ran down his spine. For the first time in a long time, he felt fear. Fear for his life and fear for the safety of the others. It felt as though the very air pressed down on him, and he could hardly move. And from the corner of his eye, he saw Haru, followed by the other void demons. "What do you want from us? We have not broken any rules. Why are all these demon hunters attacking?" Came the calm voice of Haru. "Oh brother, boring and law-abiding as always, aren't we? You were always the weak one, and I wonder why the elders chose you over me. You were nothing but a worthless insect compared to me." "Die," said the stranger as it launched several white projectiles toward Haru. "Zurue, is that you? I thought I trapped you into the absolute void? How did you get out?" said a shocked Haru as he set up a shield to protect his people. "Long story short, I found something inside the absolute void, a little something called the Eye of Xanathos. Now this little something gave me a power boost that allowed me to escape," answered Zurue, looking rather bored. "Oh, and before you ask, I killed and absorbed the Supremo, so all these demon hunters here are all under my command," he said. Haru was shocked. No one could have been able to defeat the Supremo of the demon hunters. But all these hunters here at once would mean that Zurue is telling the truth. "Brothers and sisters, I have come here to tell you that I am going to invade those haughty gods up in the sky, and all who are interested are free to join me. Those who are not shall be absorbed and shall act as my power. Choose well or die," Zurue said, making his point very clear to those who were listening. Most of the void demons joined him. It was their awaited time for revenge, and freedom was theirs to take as their guards have become their servants and allies in battle. The only ones who did not join in are Haru and some of his most loyal subjects. "Lend me your strength so that I can defeat him who has trampled upon our honor. He who dares face me and call me an insect shall disintegrate," said Haru in cold rage. All the remaining void demons on Haru's side raised their hands, and then their energies were transferred to Haru. His energy increasing, Haru released it and went into his perfect form. "I've been waiting millennia for this, brother. Don't disappoint me by dying too fast," said Zurue. "Don't worry, I don't intend to even let you move," answered Haru. By that, Zurue called his second-in-command to meet Haru and gauge his power. Out came the white man that attacked all those years ago. "You? But aren't you in the service on the gods?" exclaimed Haru. "I got tired of them and their never-ending demands. I am a servant of the gods no longer. Never shall I bow down to them. The nightmares of the past never go away. They can't make it go away," he replied. "Very well, you shall be the first one to die," said Haru as he snapped his fingers. Suddenly, four black portals appeared around the bald guy, and a moment later, they solidified and formed into four dark knights. They wore light armor in their upper body for ease of movement and helmets completely obscuring their faces with some long spikes protruding from the back of the head. Their feet were nothing but tips of fire, making them levitate a few inches over the ground. They wielded fairly simple blades with large handguards. They launched at the white man only for their attacks to be parried with pure energy coming from him. "You are good, stranger. What might your name be?" asked Haru. I used to be called Kratos, but I care not for that anymore, answered the white man while charging up his blades and then stabbing it into the ground, creating a huge circular shockwave that traveled outward. Haru clapped his palms hard and created another shockwave that canceled Kratos' wave. Kratos charged Haru and started punching the ground. Suddenly, large flaming rocks shot forth and rained all around them. Haru just projected a force field to reflect the attack and snapped his fingers, freezing all of the molten rocks that have just appeared. Kratos then disappeared from view and then reappeared behind Haru, where he proceeded to clap his blades together. Suddenly, four large orbs of lightning appeared and extended tendrils that shocked Haru in place. A moment later, the orbs exploded, obliterating Haru. Is that all, Void Demon? Is that all? Kratos said in a mocking tone. Suddenly, Haru appeared in front of Kratos and conjured up a mace which he used to bludgeon Kratos viciously. One final swing sent Kratos flying. Thanks to Kratos' hardened skin, the attack did little to damage him. If that is all you can do, then your master would be of no concern to me, Haru said coolly. Zurue just stood there, enjoying the scene. He never thought his brother would accumulate all that power. This is going to be a most enjoyable battle, Zurue said to himself as he smiled. Kratos stood up and just breathed lightly. He focused and let his power seep onto the surrounding terrain. Suddenly, the frozen rocks floated and changed into a brown substance that seemed to look like liquid bronze. Then, the forms started to clump together, larger and larger until it formed into a roughly humanoid shape. It carried a large shield and a long spear. On its head was what looked like a large helm with strange protrusions that seemed to be moving. On its lower body was just a chainmail-like fault. Without warning, the giant thrust its spear toward Haru, who swerved out of the way only to be smashed against the giant's shield. As Haru was smashed by the shield, he teleported away and left a clone which exploded with a tiny burst of void energy. The giant's shield being ripped to shreds was testament to the strength of this harmless-looking attack. Haru then snapped his fingers in rapid succession at the giant, and out of nowhere, multiple explosions of black fire enveloped the area. The giant just dodged the explosions, moving with the grace of a gymnast. Haru was surprised at the agility that was shown considering how enormous the giant is. I'm still here, Kratos said as he formed about out of pure wind and launched several cyclones at Haru in quick succession. Haru just twirled his index finger, and then a large tornado formed and devoured the small cyclones and then made its way to Kratos. Suffer. Kratos then exuded a blue aura and started levitating. Suddenly, a darkness spread from his location outward, and without warning a literal lightning storm hit Haru. Kratos, seeing an opportunity, brought out his blades and stabbed them to the ground, releasing an ominous red light. When the light faded, Haru stood there, turned into a stone statue. Humph. I guess you're not that strong, Kratos said as he sheathed his blades and walked away. You know, this statue really does not capture my features, but it could be used as a conversational piece. Can I have this after I beat your ass? Haru said in a mocking tone. Rafa. Arrogant fool, Kratos said as he ran towards Haru. He joined his blades and formed a gigantic hammer. The hammer had several spikes running along the part used for striking. He jumped up and brought the hammer down, sending a tidal wave of flame toward Haru. Haru countered by waving his hands forward and creating a wave of water that doused the flames, creating copious amounts of steam. In the cover of steam, Kratos was charging up a powerful attack. He jumped high again and slammed the hammer on the ground. A deafening roar was heard and thousands of cursed souls armed to the teeth appeared and flew toward Haru at high speeds. Haru just brought a palm forward and created a super dense area in front of him and collapsed it. The result was a massive black hole that devoured everything around, including the cursed souls. Is that all? Surely you have more. Haru said in a deadpan tone. Humph, said Kratos as he changed his weapon to a lance with a large blade on its front and sharp violet crystals on its backside. He charged Haru and delivered numerous stabbing attacks. Kratos switched to the crystal side and slammed it to the ground, creating a circular glowing crystal that exploded a while later. Kratos then moved back and made a wide horizontal slash with the bladed side. Kratos switched to the crystal side and slashed at the space before him multiple times. This sent multiple crystal bombs at Haru. They connected and exploded with such force that Kratos almost got thrown off his feet. After the smoke cleared, Haru just stood there, unfazed by the barrage of attacks. The ground was not that lucky as a large molten crater was formed around Haru. Only the area where he is standing is untouched. Haru feigned a yawn which further enraged Kratos. Kratos just glared at Haru and began saturating the area around him with energy. A bang reverberated and the energy rushed at Kratos and formed his assault armor, improving all abilities and shielding the weaknesses. This was the reason why the gods wanted Kratos as a tool. The armor granted him demigod-like powers for a limited time. It looked like Spartan armor made entirely of energy with electricity dancing about him and a long energy cape flowing behind him. Kratos rage mode in the first game only with a cape. Kratos stomped on the ground and caused spikes to surge towards Haru, who just brushed them off with a yawn. He was then swept off his feet and hoisted into the air by a powerful shockwave. Kratos merged his blades and formed a large golden sword that emitted huge amounts of energy for its cutting edge. He then jumped into the air and slashed at Haru with blinding speeds and finished with an overhead slash that fired off a blast of pure energy that buried Haru into the ground. With Naruto, Kyuubi was on the floor, writhing in pain, screaming and pulling at her hair. "Make it stop," she screamed over and over again. "This is not going to be good," Naruto muttered. Naruto just stood there watching, too dumbstruck at the events unfolding in front of him. Suddenly, a group of demon hunters appeared in front of him and began attacking. This place is not a good place to fight. They might injure Q-chan. So Naruto changed into his void form. This time the appearance changed. It was a single being now. His face became demonic, growing small spikes on his chin with glowing red eyes and the upper part of his face being covered with a dark armor. Several spiky protrusions appeared on his elbows and shoulders. His hands also changed, being heavily armored and clawed in appearance. He wore dark chest plate with a zero glowing red on the left chest. His abdomen disappeared, being replaced with a gaping maw that is holding on to a sphere that looked like it was a tiny universe. His lower body also became demonic with cloven hooves. He also sprouted wings, but these were just bones with no skin or muscle. He used the wings to stab at the demon hunters, but it was just parried. He released a huge energy wave and then charged energy to his wings and flew upward. The demon hunters threw energy bolts at him, but he just used the orb on his abdomen to absorb the attacks and redirect them at the demon hunters with thrice the power. He got two, and before they can fall to the ground, Naruto absorbed their powers, further empowering his own. "Who's next?" Naruto taunted as he levitated and muttered ancient words. Two demon hunters in front of him exploded, and he absorbed their powers. Hee. "This is nice. I like your power. Can I have some more?" Naruto said as he channeled his power, and then a complete replica of a demon hunter appeared before him, and he ordered it to charge. The other demon hunters ripped it to shreds, but the injuries just regenerated at a fast pace, and the copy was able to kill 5 when it let out a powerful blast of cutting wind. Naruto was there, happily absorbing the power leaking from the dying demon hunters. "Ladies and gentlemen, the Devourer has been born." Back with Haru. Haru just stood up and popped the Kinks' neck. "Okay, you're now a bit of a threat, Almagest," Haru said as he waved his hands in a complicated pattern. Suddenly, a large black hole appeared and swallowed Kratos, only for it to be cancelled by a larger black hole. Compliments of Zurue. "Enough, brother. Now it's just you and me." "Troops fall back," Zurue said, failing to hide his excitement. Kratos did as he was told, and the group of remaining hunters also fell back. Naruto reverted back to his womb form and went to Kyuubi, cradling her in his arms and trying to calm her down. The hunters reported to Kratos about the boy's abilities. If what they are saying is true, then the boy could be of use to them. He then sent a mental message to Zurue about the capabilities of the boy. He would be very useful in the future, kind of an insurance policy. On the battlefield, Zurue wasted no time in idle chit-chat and immediately rushed toward Haru, delivering punches so fast that they blur. Haru, on the other hand, expertly avoided the strikes and countered with a strong wallop to the head, but Zurue just phased through the attack like a ghost. "Why are you doing this?" Father would not have approved of this. He wished for peace, and so he just let the gods be, even though we are being oppressed. He told me that he even considered giving up our powers and live like normal humans. Did you not learn from the bloody war that was waged by our forefathers? Our brothers that died in search for power? Won't you consider, brother? Haru reasoned with his brother. Even though his brother has turned on and carried the dark visage, he still loved him. You were always weak. Both of you clung to father like leeches. You know it was better that father gave you the throne. This clan just held me back, limited my potential. You're no better than Kushina. That bitch just gave up her powers like it was nothing. Now I'm going to make a new future for us, a place far better than that of the gods, and you're not going to be a part of it," Zurue said coldly. "Why do you taint the memory of our sister? She did a very noble thing, making an example for peace. Though she died a human, her acts are of far more importance than just simple power that you are searching for," Haru said. "I tire of this idle talk," Zurue said as he charged up a mysterious energy. It seemed more powerful than the void. Suddenly, multiple black holes appeared all around Haru, threatening to rip him to shreds. Haru then just teleported away. Zurue was just casually walking, waving his hands and producing more and more black holes. You know what I discovered in the absolute void? The true power of the void is not through creation but by the erasure of all existence. I will devour everything and reduce it to nothingness, Zurue said, giving a bit of background as to what he wants to do. Were you the one who caused the guardians to go berserk? Asked Haru. Ah, those petty demon guardians. I used the power of the eye to project an intense bloodlust within them. I don't need them meddling with my plans, so I sent them to the human realm to cause a bit of chaos. When the time is right, I will harvest their powers. I have already sent some of my servants in the human realm to make preparations, said Zurue. Haru just stayed quiet, hoping his brother would spill more of his plan. To coax his brother into talking more, Haru charged him with a great sword in hand and sent a crimson crescent blade at Zurue, who just batted the projectile away. Haru just threw the sword at Zurue and charged an attack. Efreet, called Haru. A ring of intense fire enveloped him and formed a humanoid shape, vaguely resembling a djinn. The figure separated from him and then charged at Zurue at blistering speeds. Zurue was just looking at the machination coming at him and just devoured it with the void and sent it back at Haru with twice the strength, having flames of a blue hue and more intensity. The attack connected, and the resulting explosion rocked the whole of Onamakai. Haru got thrown off and lay sprawled on the ground. He stood up with a feigned weakness and breathed heavily, acting as though that attack got to him. Zurue went to him, gloated at his impending victory, and brought out a large green jewel. Do you know what this is? This is the Eye of Xanathos. Do you know what it does? Together with the bow and the blade, it forms an all-powerful key that can open anything. That anything is the realm of kings, a place even the gods are forbidden to go, a place where Mother is residing. I'm going to kill it and take my place in the stars, the absolute ruler of everything, Zurue said with a maniacal glint in his eyes. I'm going to put all the realms in imminent danger so that even the gods would have to make their move to stop me. When that time comes, I will also harvest their powers, Zurue finished. Haru suddenly stood up and sent a swift backhand at Zurue, which caught him off guard and sent him flying. This is madness, brother. What are you going to do when you have all that power for yourself? Haru said, desperation clear in his voice. Very smart, brother. I never thought you capable of guile, Zurue congratulated. What Haru did not know was that there is a huge chunk of earth above him, easily the size of a mountain. With a wave of Zurue's hand, the chunk came crashing down on Haru. After the smoke cleared, Haru was seen with an aura of raging flames that turned the mountain of rocks into magma. He brought his hands forward and the magma shot toward Zurue in tendrils, attempting to burn him. Zurue just evaded the attacks and used waves of ice to douse the magma and turn it solid. The plan succeeded and Haru has no more means of attack. But where has he gone? His answer came in the form of an ultra-concentrated energy bolt that came from on high. It succeeded at causing a few burns but nothing serious. God mode, eh? Never thought you would reach that level, Zurue taunted. After he said that, multiple energy beams assaulted him and brought him to his knees. Zurue stood up and made a bolt of negative energy and threw it to the skies. A red flash issued and Haru fell to the earth, still covered in the negative energy's aura. As Zurue was going in for the killing strike, Haru condensed the last remaining power from his god form and sent a godly blast at Zurue, throwing him off. Heavily bleeding and weakened, it seems that Zurue has lost. Haru came to Zurue and spoke. Brother, I'm sorry, but this madness must not be put into motion, as he raised his hands. Before the final blow was struck, Zurue brought out the Eye of Xanathos and charged it with energy. At this point, Kyuubi's screams got worse, and she started clawing at her arms, making deep wounds. Naruto saw this and deduced that it was that jewel that was making Kyuubi go berserk. He channeled the void into his Jigakugen and time stopped. The area of effect of the Jigakugen was not that large as of yet, so he could not control the space more than 5 meters away from him. He went over to the Kyuubi, touched her forehead, and applied an enchantment that made her immune to the effects of the jewel. He canceled the Dojutsu and then began to fade a little. He looked like a ghost and almost gave Kyuubi a scare when she came to. What happened? Asked Kyuubi. I saved your ass. That's all you need to know, answered Naruto haughtily. Arrogant prick. So what's happening to Haru over there? Asked Kyuubi again. Haru's kicking that guy's ass. They're brothers. Who knew? Answered Naruto. The jewel emitted a red glow, and after the light dissipated, Haru was nowhere to be found, and Zurue was emanating copious amounts of dark energy. Ah, my brother. Such a fool. Oh well, you will become part of my power. Who would have thought a worthless demon like you would be of use to me, Zurue said. Capture the stragglers. Take care not to damage the silver-haired one. He may be of some use. Anamake is mine now, Zurue ordered. He walked away, clearly exhausted from absorbing all that power. The stragglers he was talking about was Naruto and Kyuubi, as most of the void demons sided with Zurue, and the ones who gave their power to Haru got absorbed along with him. Naruto was just devastated by what happened. Zurue won. Naruto's mind was just buzzing with hatred toward the man that had killed a very important person to him. He went into his void form and charged at Zurue, only to be stopped by a large concentration of void demons. Maybe it was the spur of the moment, adrenaline pulsing through his veins, but he unlocked an ability of the orb in his abdomen. A black hole issued from it and devoured the demon hunters, instantly adding their powers to his own. Although that move severely weakened him, he still continued to Zurue. He launched multiple shadow bolts at Zurue only for it to be absorbed by him. He was stopped abruptly when Kratos grabbed him by the throat. "Bad move, child," Kratos said as he knocked Naruto out and carried him, so that they can extract his powers later. "Your powers are not that developed yet. Don't think you can take me. I was just toying with Haru a while ago. It was just a fluke that he was able to do what he did. Do not insult me by thinking that he and I are on the same level," Zurue said without even looking at Naruto. "Kill the whore," Kratos ordered to the demon hunters. Kyuubi was then surrounded by thousands upon thousands of demon hunters. She let out a huge blast that momentarily stunned the demon hunters. "I'm not called a demon guardian just for show," Kyuubi said. She made a one-handed tiger seal and was teleported behind Kratos. She got Naruto and replaced him with an exploding clone all in one move. After that, she opened a portal back to Konoha and went there with Naruto. They would be safe there, at least for now. Back in the outskirts of Konoha. "Guess we're even now, kid," Kyuubi said as she plopped him on the soft grass. Kyuubi looked around, and when she was sure no one was looking, she gave Naruto a soft kiss to the forehead and whispered a soft thanks to his ear. She then went out to search for food, as she was certain Naruto will ask for food when he wakes up. A few hours later, Naruto awoke to the smell of ramen with mushrooms and pork. Although ramen was his favorite, he ate just a bit. He was still in denial that Haru was no more. He knew that once absorbed, Haru could never be freed and would only act as a slave, just a part of Zurue's power. "Kid, we need a way to seal off your void. Using it would be a dead giveaway for Zurue," Kyuubi said. "We can do nothing for Haru now. The only thing to do is to move forward and stop that mad guy's plan." Naruto focused all the void into his left arm, where it initially started, and into his Jigokugen. He then covered the Jigokugen with a black bandage that he created from the void, while he covered his left arm with a silver armor that had sharpened claws at the fingertips and multiple shoulder plates. Both equipment had energy-absorbing properties, so they efficiently hide Naruto's void. The drawback to this is that while Naruto is wearing these energy dampeners, he is cut off from the void, effectively sealing most void powers. Naruto did all this quietly, and after he was done he left and went to sulk in the trees. Kyuubi followed him and sat near him and put her head on his shoulder and just stayed quiet. It was Naruto who spoke first. "You know, he was the only one to make me feel safe and secure again. Someone to say that he was proud of what I did. When I was a kid, all I wanted was for the people to notice me, for them to recognize that I exist. Now that Haru is gone, I don't know what I'm going to do," Naruto said as he hugged Kyuubi, tears streaming down his eyes for the first time in years. "Hush now. I'm here and I'll never leave you. That is a promise," Kyuubi reassured him as she returned his hug. Naruto ran through the hail of lightning jutsus that were assaulting him left and right. He saw the damage done by the jutsus to the nearby trees and was surprised by its power. For a human-sized jutsu, that packed some punch to it, but only just. "Better be careful not to get hit by those," muttered Naruto under his breath. Naruto made a few hand seals and focused his chakra. "Right on." Lightning shard, called Naruto as he shot his hands forward. Naruto thought the jutsu worked until he felt an abnormal pull on his chakra reserves. Nothing happened and the jutsu failed. He clutched his arm and felt immense pain. That should have fired off some lightning. "What happened?" muttered Naruto to himself, sucking up the pain and standing straight again. Out of breath already? Only a fool would dare face off against Rokushu Aoi, and an even bigger fool to do it in the rain, a slender, feminine-looking man with light blue hair said. He wielded what looked like a sword of pure lightning and was looking haughtily at his would-be attacker. "In your dreams, you idiot." "Kyuchan, why the hell can't I use my chakra?" said Naruto in his mind as he contacted Kyuubi. With Kyuubi. Kyuubi has just finished beating the shit out of Aoi's men and was piling them up in one big heap. She was thinking of making a nice, big bonfire to make the place a little lively. "Guess what she'll use as fuel? You're not even worth using any mana on," Kyuubi said as she threw the last man into the pile. "Kyuchan, Yu-chan," said a voice in her head. "Don't scream, will ya? I can hear you just fine," Kyuubi said while clutching her ears painfully. "Sorry, how come I can't use any jutsus?" asked Naruto apologetically. Let me check, said Kyuubi as she activated the senses of her original body sealed inside Naruto. After a moment of checking and double-checking, she found out the reason. Your chakra isn't purely chakra anymore, said Kyuubi. Say what? Said Naruto. It's been mixed with a little bit of mana and the faintest amount of the void. Let me see. About 95% chakra for 0.995% mana and 0.005% void. That slight change in the composition means that you can't channel it the way you did with your old chakra. Sorry, Kit, but you have to learn how to use chakra, again said Kyuubi casually. Where are you anyway? Kyuubi asked, fighting with Aoi. Oh well, time for some trial and error, said Naruto. Don't be too cocky, Kit. If you die out there, I'm not reviving you, said Kyuubi as she focused her mana and started out a fire jutsu. She let the fire dance around her hand while thinking. Now, what to do? Let them live and take the reward or kill them and have some fun but no reward. Kyuubi pondered as she put her index finger to her chin and thought deeply. Back with Naruto. Naruto just evaded another lightning bolt directed at him and formed the distinctive cross-shaped hand seal. Kage Bunshin, he called out. 10 dead-looking Narutos came out, but they just disappeared again in a puff of smoke. Nope, not that way, Naruto muttered as he moved away from a sword strike. How pitiful. How could you hope to defeat me with such useless chakra control? Taunted Aoi as he slashed with the lightning sword and sent a wave of lightning toward Naruto. Naruto just jumped out of the way, made some hand seals, and attempted another right-on. Lightning shard. This time small sparks issued from his fingers. Getting better, muttered Naruto. Stop moving so I could kill you, you stupid monkey, said Aoi, clearly getting pissed. That blunt comment annoyed Naruto to no end, and he blurred from existence and appeared in front of Aoi, catching him off guard. Naruto gave him a vicious punch to the abdomen. Naruto followed it up by a strike to the shin. Both attacks simultaneously knocked the wind out of Aoi and brought him to his knees from the pain. What was that again? Naruto whispered onto Aoi's ear as he disappeared and went back to his previous position. Naruto tried Doton. Earth spikes, he slammed his hand into the ground and channeled his chakra. This time the jutsu worked. Somewhat. A small area around him was then covered with small earthen spikes, though these spikes looked like they would crumble at the slightest touch. Almost there, thought Naruto. Aoi recovered from the last attack, and he was pissed. Very, very pissed. Were you just toying with me? You bastard, screamed Aoi as he went berserk and launched a lot of lightning bolts toward Naruto that he just evaded. Nope, I'm considering it training. At least I'm not just toying with you, reassured Naruto as he gracefully evaded the projectiles. This answer further enraged Aoi as his attacks became less focused and more feral. Try this, Katan. Fireball, said Naruto. Something went wrong and the technique exploded right in front of him, sending him flying and breaking through some trees. Luckily, the ground becoming soft due to the rain cushioned his fall. Whoops, too much, Naruto said as he massaged his temple. Naruto stood up suddenly but clutched his lower back in pain. My back. Ooh, I can't use any mana, so no mana armor. Damn you, Kyuchan, Naruto said as he shook his fist into the air. Hey, I heard that. Kyuubi said in his head. Whoops. You're breaking up. Catch you later, said Naruto as he mimicked the static in phones when being disconnected. I think I got it, Futon. Windblade, Naruto said as he shot his right hand forward. Suddenly, an invisible blade of wind clanged against Aoi's sword. Aoi retaliated by launching a lightning blade at Naruto. Oh yes, I finally got it. You are so dead, you stupid rat-ass bastard. Consider the bounty on your head collected, said Naruto, taking on a stance. Flashback. Kyuubi finally finished calming Naruto down and suggested that they enter the village and become Konoha shinobi. What? Why the hell would we do that? Asked an enraged Naruto. I've had nothing but bad memories there. I'm not going back, and that's final, said Naruto adamantly. Think, you idiot. Zurue said he has agents in this world, which means that they are searching for our whereabouts even as we speak. Without the protection of a hidden village, we might as well be dipped in shit and deep fried. Do you want to just hand over your power to Zurue? Kyuubi reasoned, but I can take him. I've already developed my void form and increased my control over the void, said Naruto, desperately trying to find a way not to go back to Konoha. Do you know what happened when you tried to attack Zurue? I'll tell you what, you almost got screwed again. You need to train more. One day your arrogance will get the best of you, Kyuubi said. And another thing, we might find some allies in Konoha. They might prove useful in protecting the other Jinchurikis, and when we're fighting with Zurue's forces here, Kyuubi added. But Naruto was about to say until Kyuubi cut him off. But nothing. I'm gonna beat you ass if you don't shut up, Kyuubi threatened. Yeah, right. Like you'll do that. As I was saying, Naruto was cut off when Kyuubi's fist collided with his face. I warned you, didn't I? said Kyubi said while massaging her knuckles. They went to the gates of Konoha and asked the guard how they could apply for citizenship in Konoha. Naruto, now sporting a black, I talked to one of the guards while Kyubi waited nearby. He said we need to go to the Konoha immigration office to apply for citizenship. Then we pay 10,000 ryo per person to cover the miscellaneous fees plus 500,000 ryo at least for housing. Naruto listed. That much, huh? Kyubi said as she went into a thinking pose. Yeah, the guy said that Konoha's living standards are quite high. So are we going to another hidden village? I've always wanted to go to Kiri. So are we going? Are we going? Naruto said looking a bit hopeful. No, we're going to hunt for some wanted shinobi listed in the bingo book, Kyubi answered. This caused Naruto's hopes to be shattered and he just stood there, head down and with dark clouds forming over his head. Kyubi went over to the shinobi in charge of the gate and asked if she could borrow the guy's bingo book. Kyubi shuffled the pages looking for a big fat bounty. Finally, she landed on one Rokushu Aoi, 9 million ryo if returned dead or alive. Wanted for multiple murders and the theft of an important village artifact. After Aoi, she saw Naruto, wanted for village destruction, genocide and theft of a legendary village artifact reward. 50 million ryo, Kyubi whistled as she saw the entry on Naruto. The kid has made quite a name for himself, Kyubi thought as she swelled up with pride. Hey, who's this guy? Asked Kyubi pointing to Aoi. Ah, him? He was once a Konoha shinobi, but he defected once he got the Raijin. Rumor has it that he wanted to join in on the Akatsuki, the guy answered. What's this Raijin? Asked Kyubi again. I can't tell you that, miss. It's a matter of village security, answered the ninja sternly. Oh please, Sir Ninja, I won't spill your secrets. Won't you tell me what it is? Kyubi said in her most sexy voice as she pouted. She then leaned toward the guy, showing a bit of cleavage. Copious amounts of blood rushed down the man's nose as it looked like he was in heaven. This was exactly the effect that Kyubi wanted. It's a sword that has no physical blade. Instead, it projects pure lightning to attack, said to be used by the legendary Naidame. Second, Hokage in conjunction with his water attacks. It is said that the blade encounters no resistance and cuts through anything like a hot knife through butter. They told us that as we returned the Raijin intact, they would double the reward, the guy said as fast as he can before collapsing due to sheer pleasure and blood loss. Thank you, kind sir, said Kyubi as she walked seductively away. The perverted ninja just stretched out his arms saying, come back, before passing out. Kyubi was then rejoined by a disapproving Naruto. You would go so low, would you? Naruto said as he looked at her with narrowed eyes. Shut your trap, or I'll do your other, Kyubi threatened. This time Naruto was smart enough to shut his mouth, lest he look like a panda at the hands of the merciless Kyubi. After a few days of searching and asking people, they finally found Aoi's encampment on the border of Fire Country going to Amigakure, Hidden Rain Village. Before the battle started, Kyubi told Naruto not to use any mana. When Naruto asked why, Kyubi just said that it was to challenge himself. Naruto, not wasting any chances to prove himself, nodded and then sprinted off in search of Ai while Kyubi went in the camp to cause some ruckus. The people in the encampment were a bit surprised that there was an intruder but were relieved when they found out that it was just a woman. A heavily muscled man came to Kyubi and caressed her face. I'm gonna have some fun with you, little doll. After he finished that sentence, he coughed up some blood and fell to his knees due to Kyubi punching a hole right through his chest. The other shinobi in the encampment then tensed at this new attacker. They readied their weapons and charged. Bring it on, you stupid oafs, said Kyubi as she readied herself for some hoppin'. In flashback, he needed to end the battle quickly as the damage done by the failed jutsus would be compounded if he would get hit with one of those lightning bolts. But Naruto just couldn't resist playing with his target. He would attack with weak elemental jutsus until Aoi falls down. Naruto charged and formed the familiar chakra swirling technique he used to do in the past. It took quite longer to charge this time due to him not having perfect control over his chakra. Rasengan, he said as he slammed his hand into the ground and sent out a flurry of rocks toward Aoi. These just left shallow cuts on his arms. Naruto then readied his next attack. He flared his chakra and focused it into his mouth. Katan, great fireball, called Naruto as he breathed out a small wave of fire toward Aoi, who just evaded it and retaliated with some more lightning. Are you still going on with that? You know you just couldn't hit me with that. It's too linear, Naruto taunted. Heh, you're slowing down. When I get the chance, I will make you suffer, muttered Aoi as he readied his chakra. He abandoned all attempts at attacking. He only waited for the right timing to use his most powerful combo with the Raijin. Naruto began gathering the moisture that is so abundant around him at the moment for a jutsu. You're no fun, Suiton. Water shark projectile, said Naruto as he raised his right hand then slammed it into the ground. Suddenly, three sharks made of water with a little bit of mud made a beeline for Aoi. Aoi was able to use the lightning waves from the Rai gene to cancel two of the sharks, but one was able to bypass it and the attack connected. Aoi got thrown from his feet from the force of the attack and fell several feet away. And we're done, Naruto said as he walked over to Aoi. As Naruto was about to pick up Aoi, he quickly stood up and held his hand straight on water prison. Suddenly, the rain water converged on Naruto and trapped him inside an orb of water. The liquid was very dense, and it seemed to suck the chakra away from him every time he tried to use it. Naruto found himself in some deep shit. He can't move. He was trapped in water, and the worst part is that he can't even use his jutsus. To make matters crappier for Naruto, Aoi channeled Raijin's electricity directly to the orb of water, which electrocuted Naruto. I commend you in making it this far and surviving being electrocuted in water, but it all ends here, foolish child. You should not have trifled with me. That jutsu is my specialty. It absorbs all energy that the prisoner emits and then disperses it into the atmosphere. There's no way you can escape no matter how much energy you expend, claimed Aoi as he passed another current of electricity to the orb. Arf, try this energy, Naruto struggled. Finally, he got fed up and tried to use some mana. This failed spectacularly as the water orb just absorbed the mana that he was trying to mold. What the hell? It even absorbs mana. Shit. Shit. Naruto cursed. Oh, what have we here? A Jinchuriki? Well, my day just got better. I'll hand you over to the Akatsuki for extraction, and I'll be instantly accepted, and Aoi said with glee as he saw Naruto's dispersed mana. He passed another charge of electricity toward the orb and electrocuted Naruto another time. You're resilient, I'll give you that. But you're going to break sooner or later, said Aoi as he passed yet another charge of electricity to the orb. Naruto's eyes grew dim with each and every volt of electricity that Aoi passed through his body. Then it all became dark. He slowly lost feeling on all his limbs and felt the sensation of falling. Crap. I should have ended it soon. Naruto struggled to speak out his last words. Outside, Naruto's mask shone with a dark light, releasing copious amounts of the void. His mask as well as the void began pulsing. The void then began to envelope Naruto, forming as if activating the void form, but before anything could happen, the black bandages and the silver gauntlet reacted to the energy and canceled it. The mask reabsorbed the energy and glowed one final time before fading away. The immense power the mask exuded canceled Aoi's jutsu and freed Naruto from the prison. Aoi was taken aback by what just happened. The boy just exuded an unearthly amount of energy. He felt as though a huge boulder was strapped onto his back and the skin peeling away from his body just a while ago. Now the boy lay sprawled on the ground, apparently unconscious. What a freak. Oh well, I told you you'd break sooner or later, Aoi said as he picked up Naruto and hoisted him up his shoulder. After that, everything went black for Aoi as he was thrown away due to a fist colliding with the back of his head. Aoi was embedded on a nearby tree. He dropped the Rai gene which deactivated the blade and fainted. I told you not to take him too lightly, Kyubi said as she picked up the Rai gene and placed it inside her pocket. The wind suddenly picked up speed and the rain intensified. Looks like we're gonna need some shelter for this, Kyubi said to herself as she carried both Naruto and Aoi. Well, more like carried Naruto with care and dragged Aoi behind her, taking care to drag him over some rocks jutting out of the ground. She found a small cave to serve as shelter as the rains turned into a full-blown typhoon. They would not survive if she braved that storm. In the cave, Kyubi treated Naruto's injuries and laid him to the most comfortable patch of dirt. As for Aoi, she just dropped him on some jagged rocks. Kyubi tied him up with some rope that she charged with her mana, and for the icing on the cake, she kicked him 3 times in the groin. Hope you get a headache, you prick. Kyubi stood by Naruto until she was sure he was going to be okay, only leaving to hunt for food because she was sure that food will most likely be on his mind by the time he wakes up. As she came back to check up on him, she heard him moaning and mumbling something about her words, so soft, chest, and Q-chan can be heard, and to top it all off, the morning wood is practically begging to be released. Kyubi grinned mischievously. Looks like the kid is growing up a bit. She stopped there with a doubtful look on her face. Only physically, he is still an idiot when it comes to life, she added quickly. Kyubi then glanced at the still unconscious Aoi and thought with a pensive look. I may have overdid it, she concluded as she began to skin the wild pig she caught. After Naruto woke up, he asked Kyubi what happened, and she told him that she had just saved his life again. Looks like you owe me this time, Naruto and Kyubi teased. Fine, Naruto said. After they ate the wild pig that Kyubi caught earlier, they made their way back to Konoha. The trip back was quite uneventful if you don't count the incident where Naruto turned a bright beet red and comically shrunk when Kyubi told him about what he had said. and did earlier. You're such a pervert. Who knew? Kyubi teased through giggles. I am not. Just leave me alone, Naruto said as he made a mental note to stuff his mouth whenever he slept so that the sleep talking would not happen again. The teasing continued until Konoha and Naruto just endured it. If you would listen at him really closely, you can hear him chanting "suck it up" to himself as though it were some mantra. As they were nearing Konoha, Aoi came to and told Kyubi to shut the hell up because his head was throbbing. This earned him another strike to the groin that made him scream like a girl and robbed him of consciousness. They then went over to the guard, asking where they should turn Aoi in. The guard was surprised that a couple of strangers was able to finally capture the elusive Aoi. They have been looking for him for a long time, but these two just found him in less than a month. That has got to be worth something. Go to the Hokage Tower, the guard said, the highest building in the village, he added when they adopted quizzical looks. Okay. Thanks so much, Kyubi said as they walked away. Oh, and where is the guard that came before you? I didn't get the chance to thank him for his help. Oh, you mean Kotetsu? He was sent to the hospital due to massive blood loss. The strangest thing is that there seems to be no injury inflicted. When we asked about what happened, but he just smiled and groaned before passing out, the guard said. Oh, well, we'll be on our way then, Kyubi said. Naruto went to Kyubi saying, wow, your demon charms are not only effective, they're deadly too. Maybe you can defeat Zurue with that cleavage thing you did. Shut up, pervert, Kyubi rebutted. That comment shut Naruto up. It wasn't fair that she was using that against him. It was only a normal thing for a boy his age to have those kinds of dreams, right? Naruto sulked for the rest of the way and didn't make any comments. He was thinking deeply about how to get Kyubi back. He didn't even laugh when he saw a guy wearing a green leotard walking the streets with his hands shouting youth power, with tears streaming down his face. Though he did feel a bit disturbed by that. At the Hokage Tower, Kyubi walked over to the reception desk and asked if they could have an audience with the Hokage, Kyubi pointing at Aoi signifying that they have come to collect on some bounty. The Hokage has a previous engagement that he is tending to at the moment. Would you please wait in the lobby until further notice, the receptionist said politely. Oh, and you could seal him inside a scroll, the woman said pointing at Aoi. The civilians may be distressed to see you carrying a corpse. Oh, no, he isn't dead, Kyubi told the woman as she poked Aoi on the cheeks, making him groan. Note that you could only seal inanimate objects with a few injutsu. Many seal masters have tried to seal living organisms in scrolls, but they all failed. They sat in the lobby along with the other civilians, and they got a lot of weird looks. And they looked really weird with the girl lugging around a full-grown man who was tied up with an excessive amount of rope and a silver-haired boy brooding in the corner exuding an aura of "piss me off and you die." A lot of people backed away from these odd people and avoided even making eye contact or even looking at their general direction. When the time came for them to have an audience with the Hokage, they stood up and just walked calmly over. The civilians, however, were quite relieved that those two were leaving. At the office, Kyubi threw Aoi in front of the Hokage with a loud thud. He groaned and blinked. To Aoi's horror, he was in the Hokage's office looking into the eyes of a very furious old man. He was about ready to piss himself, not to mention soil himself, simultaneously. If we could have our reward money, we'll be on our way and out of your hair, Kyubi said. Could I just ask you one question? The Hokage said. Shoot, Kyubi said as she made herself comfortable on one of the chairs. Who are you? And what are you going to do with the reward money? The Hokage inquired. I'm not Dash. Naruto was about to introduce himself before he got cut off by Kyubi nudging him on the ribs. Don't tell him your real name, you oaf. Didn't you forget? You a wanted criminal here, Kyubi whispered. You're not? That's a strange name, the Hokage said, looking quite apprehensive. No, I'm sorry. My name is Jin, Naruto said. After some quick thinking, he landed on the color of his hair. And you, pretty lady? The Hokage asked. I'm a Kasumi, said Kyubi. Oh, well, Jin and Kasumi. Where do you plan to use the reward money? Asked the Hokage a final time. They then told him that they were refugees from the war in Kumo, and that they had no place left to go. They lied, of course. And then they told him that they planned to use the money to immigrate to Konoha and start again. At this answer, the Hokage's face lit up. If that is what you want, then you could apply for a shinobi license. I would grant you a house in the shinobi district, and you could keep the reward money. Konoha could sure use talent like yours, the Hokage said, beaming towards Kyubi, totally ignoring Naruto. What about me? Complained Naruto. Well, seeing as you still are underdeveloped and young, you could enroll in the Ninja Academy. I would put in a good word for you so they would allow you to attend even this late in the year, the Hokage said. Well, I was the one who defeated Aoi, not her, Naruto protested. Is this true? The Hokage asked Kyubi. Kyubi, thinking quickly, thought of a plan to both keep an eye out for Zurue and gather their forces in the Ninjin, human, realm. Kyubi replied with a flat "no." I'm his older sister, and that kid has a very large imagination. It sometimes feels as though he lives in a world of his own. Please excuse his outbursts, said Kyubi, as Naruto opened his mouth to say something. Kyubi struck pressure point on his neck that instantly knocked him out, and so Kyubi made arrangements with the Hokage. As the aged man was about to go out and lead them to the shinobi district, Kyubi then remembered something. She fumbled on her pockets and found what she was looking for. She then threw the Raijin at the Hokage, who quickly caught it. He looked at it, making sure that it was the real deal. When it was confirmed, he smiled at Kyubi. So it's 18 million raya then. Nice making business with you, the aged man said as he gave a small bow. I'd say the same thing, Kyubi said as she winked at the old man. The Hokage then led them to their new living quarters. Kyubi followed, carrying the unconscious Naruto. The shinobi district looked like a run-of-the-mill subdivision, but Kyubi knew this was not the case. She felt really powerful auras all around her. Well, powerful for humans anyway. The Hokage turned and opened a brown door and led them inside. The place was not too shabby. The living room was spacious, with soft couches. There were 2 bedrooms, a kitchen/dining area, and 2 bathrooms. The Hokage left after giving them a brief tour of the house and giving Kyubi the keys. Naruto came to and was looking daggers at Kyubi and asked why she took credit for his handiwork and made him look like a fool. This way, we can gather our forces here. The Hokage appointed me as a Tokubetsu Jounin, Special High Ninja. I could use that position to gather information about what Zurue's forces are and their whereabouts, Kyubi answered. Point taken. But how come I get to attend the damn academy? I'm not a child, protested Naruto. You need to grow up. Maybe going back to the basics is good for you. You may learn a lesson or two from that, Kyubi finished, putting on a serious look. Naruto just nodded because he knew what was coming. Once Kyubi made the look, there was no way to change her mind. Naruto just went inside one bedroom and rested. Next morning, Naruto awoke because of Kyubi suddenly sitting on top of him screaming, "Wakey, wakey. You're going to be late for school." He got out of bed and went to take a bath, grumbling something about a crazy fox bitch. As Naruto was getting ready to leave for the academy, Kyubi stopped him and told him to take his shirt off for a while. Are you going to rape me? What a pervert, Naruto said furtively. In your dreams, you pint-sized closet pervert, Kyubi countered. I'm just gonna add a little something to the seal to make sure you don't cheat and use mana, said Kyubi. Why the hell can't I use any mana? Asked an agitated Naruto. Maybe it would be easier this way, Kyubi said as they gave Naruto a soft punch to his side. This paralyzed him momentarily. This gave her plenty of time to add some seals to the 4-image seal restricting the use of mana. First the void, and now mana. What are you trying to do with me? Naruto asked on the verge of a breakdown. Well, it would be good training for you because if you use and master that composite chakra, your control over your other energies would increase too, said Kyubi. It's like the concept of putting weights on your body. When you get used to them, you get stronger and faster when you remove them. The same concept applies here. By limiting the power that you use, you're forced to push yourself further to gain back the power lost. Now do you get what I mean? Kyubi asked. Yeah. Power limiters, whatever, Naruto said. Now, your mana will only be usable when the situation warrants it. Other than that, you're pretty much back on chakra, Kyubi said. All right, now could you please release me from this? Naruto asked, clearly irritated that he can't move. At that time, Kyubi began to look at him a little too much for comfort. You know, I could take you up on your offer, Kyubi said as she licked and sucked on Naruto's neck, sending shivers down the silver-haired boy's spine. Okay, this is getting a little bit uncomfortable, Naruto said as he sent out a pulse of chakra and broke free of the paralysis. He ran away and made towards the academy. Wow, that's the first time someone broke free of that. Hiki. Just a day after learning on the new chakra, and he's already getting the hang of it, Kyubi said as she went back inside for some R&R. In the academy, Irika was having a hard time making his class go quiet, and to make things worse, the new student is late. He can't start his lectures about ninja life if the class is not complete. What was the Hokage thinking when he enrolled the kid so late in the year? Irika was then snapped out of his musings when Naruto appeared. It's about time. Why did you take too long? Did you get lost? Irika asked the student. Not really. Something just came up, Naruto said. Irika motioned his class to shut the hell up and told Naruto to walk up and introduce himself. Hello, classmates. I'm Inayara Jin. I hope we get along well, Naruto said as he took a bow. Okay, Jin. Choose a seat so we could start the lesson for today, Irika said as he pointed to the empty seats. Naruto chose the seat farthest from the front and sat next to a sleepy-looking kid with a pineapple-like hairdo. Get ready, new kid. It's going to be the longest 30 minutes of your life. I'm Shikamaru, by the way, said the kid as he reached out his hand. Naruto shook it and asked why. You'll see, Shikamaru said as he slumped down his chair and tried to snooze. The shinobi of this village are the protector of peace, the aegis of the common people. So we have to act accordingly. We must always be respectful. Iruka lectured as he drew diagrams of how to properly bow on the board. After that, the only thing Naruto heard were blah, blah, blah. This was far worse than what Kyuubi made him do when they were training. Oh boy, this is going to be one long school year, Naruto muttered as he mimicked Shikamaru and slept. Naruto sat there, boredom taking hold. In all honesty, he would rather be raped by Kyuubi right now. At least he wouldn't be mind-fucked with this boring lecture. NOO. Stop thinking bad thoughts. Bad brain. Bad, evil hormones. Naruto thought as he bashed himself on the head. Naruto relaxed and he slouched again. After what seemed like forever, he looked at the wall clock in front. He almost face-faulted when he saw that only 5 minutes have passed. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Naruto thought of talking to Shikamaru, but dismissed it when he heard some snoring coming from the pineapple head. Naruto just looked on at his classmates who were pretty much bored as hell like he is. From the corner of his eye, he saw a fat kid discreetly munching on some chips when Iruka was not looking. Next to him was a kid wearing a greenish jacket with a high collar. He was wearing cool-looking circular shades. Naruto made a mental note to ask the kid where he bought those shades. Front and center were two chicks bickering over something, but Naruto paid them no heed. The originally blonde kid looked to the left and saw some nondescript-looking kids making notes. Wow, they're really diligent, Naruto mentally said, seriously doubting the utility of bowing and flower arrangement in pitched combat. Well, you could bow to feign a surrender and then strike when they least expect it. Nah, probably would not work. Naruto mused on his thoughts for a while and then continued observing the others. Next to the note-taking kids was the king of all brooders, Uchiha Sasuke. Everything about this boy just screamed emo fag to the guys and hunk god to the girls. Upon closer inspection, he saw a hint of sadness to the boy, a feeling of loss that he could relate to, the feeling of losing everything all too fast. Hell, if Kyu-chan wasn't there that time he broke down, he probably would have ended up like that. To the right was a girl with dark blue hair with bangs and strands of hair framing her face. She wore a pale hooded jacket that had a fire symbol on the upper right and left sleeves and navy blue pants. She seemed to be casting shy looks at him from time to time. Naruto looked at the clock again, and I wasted 2 minutes. Great, said the boy, not too keen on listening to their teacher's rant. Now he's teaching them how to walk properly. More good news. The silver-haired boy was almost on the verge of tears when something caught his attention. The two girls up front that were bickering a while ago were now having a full-blown fight, pulling each other's hair and giving a punch and scratch here and there. Oh, I gotta see this, Naruto mentally said. Sasuke's mine Inobaka, said the girl with the pink hair. She was wearing what looked like a red dress with a white circle on the front and on the sides of the sleeves, cycling shorts and blue ninja zori. No. He's mine. Go away, billboard brow, countered the aforementioned Ino. She had platinum blonde hair and wore a purple sleeveless shirt with arm warmers. The dress stopped just a bit above the abdomen where there were bandages covering it. A purple skirt with bandages worn like tight-fitting shorts and blue ninja zori. The self-proclaimed Avenger sitting at the back just dismissed this as distraction and continued brooding. Now, how the hell would he kill Itachi? His big brother was almost a Kage-level shinobi, or maybe even past that point. He must get stronger. Petty emotions such as fear and love do not matter. All he needed was to hate. Hate everything. Hate even himself. As he thought these thoughts, his eye wandered outside. It was a nice day, perfect for strolling around. Then from the corner of his eye he saw a family of birds perched upon a tree. Ah, how cute, were the thoughts of the Uchiha before his face contorted into something unpleasant. No. Must not think nice thoughts. Must think hate. Think death. These were the thoughts of the estranged Uchiha as he averted his eyes from the scene unfolding. Before anyone could blink, Naruto was already up front watching the two girls fight with some popcorn with him. Where and how he got the popcorn is still a mystery until now. He ate the popcorn as he watched the two girls go at it with no intention of stopping them. Hey Pinky, go for the bandages, Naruto whispered. The girl with the pink hair heard this and smirked as an idea entered her mind. She tore at Ino's bandages, showing a bit more skin. Iruka was about to stop this when he saw Sakura rip the bandages covering Ino's more intimate parts. And Iruka, being the typical hot-blooded male denizen of Konoha, did a pretty natural reaction. Blood spurted from his nose and was knocked out due to loss of blood. This also happened to half the class that witnessed the event. Naruto squealed, not unlike a girl. Afterwards, he cleared his throat and spoke in his most manly voice that That wasn't me. Maybe some other guy. Naruto trailed off, noticing that no one had paid him any attention. He then watched the girls fight some more and continued, nudging them in the right direction. Oh yeah, nailed her there. You gonna take that blondie? Naruto said as he munched on some more popcorn. Ino, enraged that Sakura had embarrassed her, tore at Pinky's dress and exposed the upper part, revealing a blue sports bra. At this, the rest of the class was knocked out with pure bliss. Screams of "blue" and "nice" were heard before all went quiet again. The ones that didn't get unconscious were either watching intently with a little blood trickling down their noses or brooding. Nice color, but aren't you too young for that? Naruto called out playfully as he put the last of the popcorn into his mouth and threw out the container. The two girls went at it for a while until they realized something. Most of the guys in class were already knocked out and they were all exposed. This caused a vein to appear on both Kunoichi's temple, and they directed their anger at their silver-haired classmate who had been milking their fight for all it was worth. With a battle cry, both girls lunged at Naruto, who merely danced away with a perverted grin about his face. "Aw. You could have made it more entertaining," Naruto said as he evaded a misjudged kick from Pinky and swiftly ducked out of the way when Ino threw some kunai at him. "I can't believe you could embarrass us like that," Pinky shrieked as she formed a one-handed tiger seal. Naruto sensed her chakra fluctuate, meaning she just executed a jutsu. Question is, when will it appear? Naruto did not have time to dwell on that thought because Blondie started chucking kunai at him. He looked at Pinky again and saw that she was now accompanied by another, her. Only this one was black and white, looking much like a rough drawing of the pink-haired girl. True clone. Payback time, pervert, both clone and master said as they cracked their knuckles. They then proceeded to attack Naruto. Although Pinky's attacks were a bit too wild, Naruto admitted that he had a hard time dodging the clone strikes. Every time he evaded a punch from the black and white clone, a kick would follow from nowhere, and he would be forced to maneuver to another direction. Meanwhile, Blondie provided ranged assistance by chucking kunai and shuriken at him. This gave him a hard time considering he was just playing around. Naruto dropped his guard for a moment, and a beam of chakra erupted from the clone and came at him, knocking him off his feet. The silver-haired boy stood up and dusted off his clothes. He was getting a bit ticked off. He formed some hand seals and started a jutsu. "Right on. Lightning shard," Naruto said as he executed the jutsu, putting the smallest amount of chakra he possibly could. Static shock poured forth from his fingers, which caused both girls' hairs to poof out like afros. "No, how dare you destroy our perfectly silky smooth hair?" shrieked both girls. They then began exuding copious amounts of killing intent directed at their classmate. Said classmate is trying to make a run for it. He would not admit it, but he's a bit scared at these two girls. The only other girl to do that to him was Q-chan. "You will pay, destroyer of feminine dreams," her blonde friend said, an ominous aura emanating from her. The two girls stood back to back and raised both hands in the air. "Flash of destruction to perverts," both shouted in unison. In an instant, Naruto fell to the floor and began losing consciousness. In the next few minutes or so, all he heard are squeals of "nice abs" and "Sasuke-kun," probably as bigger guns from Pinky and Blondie respectively. After a few minutes, Naruto awoke outside the academy with a huge headache, with only his underwear on, tied to a tree, and with a lot of people, mostly female, looking at him with varied emotions. "Who's he?" came an unseen voice from the crowd. "Probably some new kid. He looks foreign." "Anyone you know who has silver hair here?" came another voice. "How about Kakashi-kun?" said another, not so feminine voice. "Do you think they're related?" asked another. "Who cares? He's kinda cute," said a feminine voice. "Yeah, and look at that six-pack. He can totally take me home anytime," said another. "Fujin, you're such a tramp," called out another. "No, I'm not. Remember what you did with the soccer team, Momo-chan," rebutted the aforementioned Fujin. Naruto just sighed at this predicament. He wasn't new to this treatment, but he didn't like it either. At least he had a bit of clothing on. Those were the days, Naruto said as he reminisced. Times like this flooded into his mind. When Kyuubi took all his clothes when he was taking a bath when they were back in Onamake, and he was forced to look all over the compound for it. Naked. Naruto's mind wandered to the times when everything was going well for him. And when he thought of Zurue, his anger just surged that he ripped his bindings like they were nothing. The motion almost cut the tree that he was tied to in half. Almost. The people that were watching earlier suddenly got antsy, afraid that the boy might do them harm. Fortunately for them, Naruto was able to contain his anger and went back to his cheery self. "Sorry about that. Got a little carried away," Naruto said as he waved the onlookers goodbye and went on to look for his missing clothes. The first place that entered his mind was the classroom. It was 5 minutes until class ended, and those girls were probably listening to another lecture from the legacy of Boar. He burst inside the classroom, wearing nothing but his underwear, and demanded his clothes back. When the class saw him sans the clothes, they did three things. A lot of the girls swooned at his nicely sculpted body, and the boys, well, they laughed at him. And well, another guy just dismissed him and went about his agenda for the day, brooding 24/7. The two culprits were there on the sidelines with a smug look to their faces. They let the class laugh at him a little more until they tossed him his clothes back. By this time, they had already put on some spare clothes, so they looked decent. Unbeknownst to Naruto, the clothes the girls tossed at him were laced with explosive chakra, and when he caught it, the clothes suddenly burst into flames. Naruto put out the flames with a small water jutsu and just wore it. Luckily for him, his clothes were very durable and escaped the fireball without so much as a burnt fiber. He went back to his seat next to the pineapple head, who looked at him incredulously. "Nice way to start your stay here, eh?" "Troublesome, very troublesome indeed," was all Shikamaru could say before he slept again. At least it was fun. Those two, they were freakishly strong for girls, Naruto said. Mostly to himself, "I sense a sexist in our hands." Ahem. Before I was rudely interrupted, he stared at Naruto for some time. "Return this afternoon for Kinjutsu practice. If you want, you can bring weapons you want to learn how to use, as we will be inviting a renowned weapons expert for the class," Irika said. Dismissed, Irika told his class. His class poured out of the door. Naruto was about to get out when Irika grasped his arm and stopped him. "Jin-kun, let me talk to you for a moment," Irika said in a slightly hushed voice. Naruto complied, and they sat in one of the empty desks with Naruto facing Irika. "Tell me why the Hokage has allowed you to enroll so late in the year. What have you done to earn the Hokage's favor?" asked Irika. "Well, it all started when I was a little baby. I didn't know both my parents, and a lot of people hated him," Naruto said before Irika interfered. "Is this going to be a long story?" Irika said, checking his watch. He still had some things to do, not to mention have his lunch. "Yep, now where was I? Oh yeah, it all started when I was a bab Naruto started until Irika interfered again. "Just tell me the gist of it," Irika said. "Well, if you put it that way, I helped hunt down and capture Rokushu Aoi with my sister. We did that so that we can get enough money to migrate to Konoha. After that, we returned the Raijin sword to the proper authorities. It should be back in the Shinobi Museum in a few weeks or so. The Hokage was so pleased with us that he awarded my sister a jounin position. He let me enroll, gave us the bounty on Aoi, and gave us a house in the Shinobi district," Naruto answered, looking a bit winded at the lengthy explanation. Irika's eyes went as wide as plates at this news. A kid no older than the rest of his class hunted down a dangerous missing knee. He returned a very precious village artifact without even so much as a scratch. Based on the chakra he sensed from the boy, this Jin has not fully mastered the use of chakra, as it continually emanated from him in huge amounts. Keeping note to teach the boy chakra exercises, he let Jin go and went for the Hokage Tower in the meantime for more details. Hokage Tower. He did help with the capture of Rokushu Aoi, and I feel as though his chakra has a different pressure to it, like some kind of new bloodline, the aged man told his visitor. Irika just looked at Saratobi and listened intently. Although the news did not come as a shock to him, he still found it hard to believe that the kid would be so capable in battle. He is still young, and yet he looks as though he's lived in a battlefield all his life. We may as well have another genius-level shinobi on our hands. "Probably on par or better than the last Uchiha," said the Hokage. "Do take care and give extra attention to his development," Saratobi added. "Hi, Hokage-sama," Irika said as he poofed away, copious amounts of smoke signaling his disappearance. The Hokage just puffed a bit at his pipe and checked if his door was properly closed. He did not want the incident with his secretary happening again. It brought him headaches every time he remembered it. He then rummaged through the lower drawers of his desk and finally found what he was looking for, the latest book of the Ika series. He opened the unholy tome and read, his beady eyes taking in each and every word. After a few moments, he started giggling perversely and blushed a bit. Back to Naruto. Naruto was running at breakneck speeds, his destination, home. He was very hungry, as evidenced by his growling stomach. Since Q-chan would be out of the house today as it is her first day on the job, he would be cooking for himself. Not that he minded, Q-chan wasn't that much of a cook anyway. He rounded a corner and was about to jump when a heavenly aroma was detected by his scent receptors. He stopped all movements and relished that smell only a god would be suited for. "Ooh, that aroma. The soup is cooked just right," Naruto said as he smacked his lips. "The smell of meat so tender it melts in your mouth," he continued. "And the noodles, soft yet firm," Naruto finished. All of time seemed to stop for him. He needed to find where that smell is coming from. Naruto seemed to float in midair as he closed in on the location of the scent. And there he found in all of its glory the Ichiraka ramen shop. There weren't that much customers, so he quickly found a spot and ordered. "I am Tucci, owner of this fine establishment. What will you have today, young man?" asked the man who was on front handing out the orders of the other customers. He looked like a mild-mannered old man who looked to be in his late 40s. "Hello, Tucci-san. I will be having 2 bowls of Yakibuta ramen, please," Naruto said. "2 bowls of Yakibuta ramen coming right up." "Hey, I am. Get the ribs out of the freezer. We're a bit short," Tucci called out to a girl serving 2 chattering old men. Said girl waved at the old man and went out back to get the ribs. "She's a bit cute. Wonder if she'll talk to me," Naruto thought with a little steam coming from his nose. When Tucci saw this, he grasped Naruto's shoulder. "I wouldn't think of doing that if I were you," the ramen guy said, looking dead serious. What are you saying, Tucci-san?" Naruto asked nervously. "I'm not thinking of anything in particular." With this, he nervously looked around the shop to divert the old man's attention. Then he saw something mounted on the wall just above the counter. It looked like a scythe, but it looked a bit weird. There was a blade running a short length along the shaft which was connected with the main blade, and there were also strange lines glowing along the blade. "No, Tucci-san, what's that?" asked Naruto shyly. That's the scythe I used when I was still in the service," answered the aged man with a bit of sparkle in his eyes, no doubt reminiscing the better days of his life. "I used to be a shinobi, an EMBU captain. When that scythe was in my hands, no one could come close to me. They used to call me, what was it again? Oh yeah, the Flick Reaper," Tucci said, going into full-blown reminiscing mode. "But how come you quit? The way you said it, you like what you do?" Naruto asked again. "I didn't quit per se. My calf muscles were torn apart from one mission I undertook, and when I recovered, well, I couldn't run anymore," Tucci said, looking a bit grim. "Well, sorry about that, Tucci-san," Naruto apologized. "Don't be looking so sad, boy. I found my center in ramen. Making ramen is like a philosophical journey. My master told me that. I found my spirit and found inner peace," Tucci said. Naruto's stomach gave a really loud growl that prompted the old man back to his duties. "Oh, gotta go do your noodles. Sorry," Tucci said while running towards the kitchen. After Naruto was served his ramen, he ate like a rabid dog and also told his story. Naruto, not being satiated by 2 measly bowls, bought every ramen type available. Everything was sold out, and Naruto ate it all. He then paid, equivalent to his allowance for the whole month. "Q-chan is so going to be pissed." "Bye, Tucci-san. I'll be back tomorrow," Naruto said as he rushed to the academy. He was going to be late.